You're listening to Well, I Laughed, Part 1 of Word of Mouth, Myths of Madness. And we're live.
Hi.
Hi.
Hello.
Hello.
How are you?
I have not had the big life changes that you have had in the last couple of days, Grant.
Yeah. And that's why I'm like, let's go ahead and get your airtime in now. Before I rip off an hour of just teacher content. How's things? How's life?
Life's been fine. I don't know. This story kind of kicked my ass in a weird way. I still don't really know why.
Yeah. Listener, at the start of this episode, I have no idea what that means. So I'm really curious.
I think you might get it once we get into it. I don't know. I've had to reschedule this recording session. I think only once, but almost twice. Panicked last night and then said, screw it, I'm doing it. And then magically it came together today. So I don't know. I know I started last week's story with 2 weeks ago story with I don't know how it's gonna go. And I think I started the week before or the story before that with that same way. This one I actually feel like I might actually kind of know how it's gonna go, which
Amazing.
Is crazy to me.
Last night, I told you I was on a hot girl walk.
Yeah.
And then like 10 minutes into it, you texted me a scheduling question.
Yeah.
And then 25 minutes later, in all caps, texted it. And I would be like, babes, this is a hot girl walk. Okay, you're lucky I'm not on airplane mode right now, motherfucker. You don't understand. I will get to it when I'm done walking around this lake.
Except I was like, if you say we can move it, I need to plan out the rest of my day, rest of my week, because now I have to move everything else around. Because if we're moving it to Thursday, I need to move Thursday's plan, and then I might need to move Friday's plan. So I need to know now.
And then I'll smash it with a hammer.
Yeah. So it's been so fun.
You know, we haven't said it in forever, but you really are a single mom who works two jobs.
Yeah, it's really feeling like it these days, especially with our goddamn patrons. No, I'm talking to you now. We're doing it on Maine. This is public shaming hour.
Top of Maine, too.
Yeah,
this is crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think a while ago I said that the patrons are planning something that I have been loosely aware of, and I don't know why I got my hopes up. Something started going amiss 2 days ago when I got 3 patron requests, and I was like, okay, that's weird. We haven't gotten one in at least a couple weeks, and so like, they seem to come in waves.
Dear listener, I also have access to the Cameo, but now that I'm in my 30s, nothing can send me a notification. Like I've thought about turning off my texting notifications. So
I'm Grant's agent is what's happening.
Maia's texting me, something's happening.
Yeah. So I'm texting him like, we got 3 one of them was a 24-hour request, so I had to do it, which was horrifying. I told Casey, I'm going to go in the backyard and be embarrassing for a while. And then more Cameo requests started coming in. By the end of yesterday, we had 7 Cameo requests. And by today, I believe we have 10. I haven't actually checked it in just a second.
And while we are incredibly grateful for like the love and the support, I also just kind of want to add my note. I'll speak from an I perspective. Feel free to we it if you would like. But like when we get a Cameo request, we really want to create something that's like special and meaningful.
And so it's stressful.
Right. And so it's usually like actually several minutes of scary silence between the two of us. And then one of us goes,
Press
okay,
record.
I think I'm ready to go. And then we like stand up and like boom, like it happens.
Yeah.
But there's like a second where we like reflect on the, like very English teacher, reflect on the prompt, think about supporting material.
Which is easy because there's like max 2. We have 10. One of them's for a cat. Another one of them is from my husband.
Oh, wait, that's sweet. You can keep that.
I think another one might be to him.
I'm trying to think what's funnier, and I'm pretty sure it's me doing Casey's request solo. Like, just me doing it.
So funny. Actually, the one for him, apparently there's a spreadsheet I'm not a part of, which is really what hurts the most.
I want you to know with this many, I'm sorry, I just have to do it. I have to go avant-garde. Like, there's no other way to do it. Oh, yeah. It's going to get real.
You're going to get back like behind the scenes, you're going to get stuff that doesn't make any sense and has nothing to do with the prompt.
Because here's the scary thing.
Yeah.
I have thought a couple times, I'm not on Snapchat anymore because I'm like a grown adult.
You're officially
for the most
not
part.
on it?
Well, I mean, like I have like a group of college friends that will like.
He's on it for the hose.
Yeah, correct. You look at me and you go, that man's on Snapchat for the hose. No, there's like like my friends we're called Napa Naughties because the last vacation we went on was to Napa Valley. But like we'll sometimes send Snapchats that way, which is great because like two of them have a kid and like while I love it, I don't need that video like saved on my phone, you know? Yeah. So sometimes like a thought will pop into my head because I live alone and I'm like, oh, I should make a little video. And then it's like, I don't want to post at the TikTok. My students would find it instantly. And like a Snapchat just doesn't feel like a big enough audience.
True. Yep.
So buckle up is what I'm trying to say.
I don't know why in my heart I thought this would be a fun surprise for me, not a surprise I had to earn. So I have some gripes with our patrons. This is all sarcastic. I want you to know. I did see the name of the Discord channel we are not a part of.
Oh, fun.
It's called the Anti-Mant Justice League.
Oh my God.
Or something like that.
Oh my God. I actually love that.
I was like,
because there needs to be more leagues. That's clever. That's clever.
If I got the name wrong, I'm really sorry if Grant's congratulating you for something. It's anti-mat something justice.
Good.
Justice something.
Good.
So
this is great. This is going to help pay for that hotel room because listener, you might be listening. This episode might have come out after I've RSVP'd one way or the other. I'm still deciding on whether or not I'm going to go to the
You need to tell them.
Wedding. I have until the 30th. So I'm not past or anything. Like
the 30th of August?
I'm aware of my RSVP date.
Okay, good.
Lydia can't go, and that's kind of throwing a wrench into things. I'm kind of planning on sabotaging Lydia so that way she does go. But like that, I'm doing a lot of planning right now. Listener school started, but
I think it would be so funny for you to just have an evening surrounded by people you don't know that you can just be someone entirely different.
All right, that's fine. I'll bring Tyler. What's fun is I can bring literally any man and just introduce him as Tyler. I think that's also really fun too.
That is also really true. He's a bit of an enigma. Oh, I have something in my
Sorry, can I say one thing on this real quick? I just call up one of my students that's graduated, but who's younger than 21, so they can't get drunk at the wedding, and thus I have a ride home.
Now, wait a minute.
For any employer listening, obviously I wouldn't do that. But go ahead, what were you going to say?
Innovation.
What were you going to say?
I was editing a Patreon for like 2 weeks ago that you end the Patreon talking about the new thing that you found in your house.
Oh, yeah.
That you then told me and then never elaborated on. I don't know if you want to do that on main since we've now broken it to the rest of the world.
No, we can save that on Patreon.
Okay.
Yeah.
Grant found a new thing in his house.
I need things to say on Patreon because I've gotten increasingly comfortable sharing all of my secrets on main.
That's so fair. Okay, let me see if I have anything else. Otherwise, it's all you. Yeah, no, that's it. That's all good.
Okay, fine. Well, if you insist.
Okay.
So
He's so generous.
Officially, students are now back in the building. Like all of the students are back in the building. And it's so much fun. Yeah. I love being a teacher so much. It brings me nothing but joy. I don't know if I'm the last happy teacher in America. I don't know what's going on. I'm having a blast, okay? We're at a very strange time in the school year. It'll only last this week. Come Monday, this behavior is going to be done. Where the children keep swinging by my room just to say hi and like be in the space for a second, which is cool because it's like fun to see all of them.
Yeah.
But then, and this is then really crucial, none of them are staying for lunch. They're all going off campus because they're like, my friends, let's go get boba, let's go get Chipotle, like whatever. They're leaving, right? And so it's like I'm seeing all of them, but also lunch is pretty quiet, which is good because it's a lot of like overstimulation very quickly.
Yes. Yeah.
So that is the groundwork for this story.
Okay.
This child's going to remain nameless.
Okay.
I'm on my computer at lunch.
Okay.
This child, they're talking to two of their friends. They're the only 3 students in the entire classroom. It's a giant classroom.
Yeah, it is.
And I'm just typing away. Not even listening because I don't really care.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Until one phrase tunes me in like a radio frequency.
Oh, no.
And the phrase is this.
Oh, no.
I'm going to tell the phrase. And then, listener, I want you at home and Maya here in the studio to guess the grade of the child that said this, okay? And I quote, I have my entire life to have a healthy relationship. What if I want to do something destructive right now?
Sophomore.
100%.
Do I know exactly who it is that said that?
I'm sure you have a short list of candidates.
Yeah, it's a very short list. And
Hold on, let's go and push these away real quick. Correct.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, sorry, we're back.
I got it. It was one of two people.
Just so good.
That's iconic.
You can't write that kind of stuff. And also, like, while I laughed and I was like, love yourself or whatever, I remember walking out to like go get water or whatever, or just to be out of my classroom for a second and be like, our kid does kind of have a point. They're kind of playing with house money right now.
Yeah,
you know?
they are. I mean, shit. Okay.
No, I think it's terrible and it's self-destructive.
It's terrible and self-destructive, but
also like a really funny thing to say.
No one has healthy relationships in high school, and you don't realize that no one has healthy relationships until you're well out of high school.
My official policy is don't date until you are 23 because no one is interested until then anyways.
I feel like that age keeps going up. I feel like it was 21.
No, it's always been 23.
Fair enough.
Yeah, thank you. Well, because when you turn 21, there's something really big and exciting happening in your life.
I just feel like
you just
learn
turned
a lot.
21, and then you have to face kind of like the personality planes that is 22 years old. And then when you cross that savannah and you hit 23, then we can chat. I mean, not anymore. I'm in my 30s, but like, you know, like that's when you can start talking to people, you know?
I do feel like that first long-term relationship is so crucial to your development, though. And honestly, the earlier you get that shit out of the way, actually, no, it does need to be like after 18, I think, is the long-term relationship. Because high school is weird. I don't think a long-term relationship in high school even fucking counts.
I agree.
Yeah, long-term relationship as an adult. Like, you need to form deep emotional attachments. You need to have that thought like, well, we might get married.
Right.
And then you need to have your heart absolutely devastatingly broken. That changes you as a person. And also you realize like a month later that was the most unhealthy relationship you've ever heard about in your life.
Yeah. The way, I mean, and usually if anything obviously causes too big of a concern, right? There's like people I talk to and whatever, but you just hear on a regular basis the most like low level concerning stuff where it like falls into the department of like, when you're 25, this is going to be the cringiest memory you have of your like entire high school experience. It's gonna be like this conversation or this moment or this relationship
can't
or
really
this
talk
dynamic.
to my high school teachers. I know they saw that.
And it's so funny to watch happen in real time. Like it's just, it brings me joy. Like there's no other way to describe it. It brings me joy. There's other stuff. You've been phenomenal as a friend this week, checking in with me about like how am I doing emotionally, physically, sleep.
I reminded him to post visuals today because I was like, there's no way this man is remembering.
Here's the thing. I did remember halfway through my freshman class, period 1.
Yeah.
And then I got to my desk and saw your text message and was moved. Like legitimately was moved. Okay. I have 2 giant classes of freshmen, right? Day 1 Monday, friends, we're recording on a Wednesday, okay, Wednesday evening. Day 1 Monday, I had both of my freshman classes for 15 minutes each, just long enough for me to like introduce myself. Here's the syllabus, blah, 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 right?
Yeah.
Day 2, we're like getting to know each other a little bit more. Some of us are now speaking in front of our peers, things like that, right?
Yeah.
Today's day 3, okay? Really kind of day 2 because we didn't do anything the first day.
Yeah.
And I'm already hosting our first like little mock congress.
Oh, that's good.
It's phenomenal.
I love a congress.
It's
too.
just kids who wanted to do exactly this taken off the leash. And then after a little bit sitting up there and being like, okay, well, that was exciting. You did it wrong. You did it wrong. So let's go ahead and talk about it for a second. And they're like already like pens out. They're like they're just like ready to take notes. I had 3 kids come up to me after period 1 and ask for feedback for what they could do better next time. And I was like, just keep that attitude because you will be getting plenty of feedback in this class.
Just like that.
I have 7 TAs that period. Oh, sorry, 6. I have 6 TAs
That's an
that
insane
period.
number of
Yeah.
TAs.
Every time I tell peers at school how many freshmen I have in that class, they're shocked by that number. Because
big ass number.
it's a big number. It's a number so big. I literally, the school had to get my permission before they did it because it like
actually
our
breaks rules.
Right.
Yeah.
Our contract rock on unions like are like, this is the cap. But there is a nice little mechanism where you can let more in if you want, and I do. Yeah. Because the more students I let in, the more TAs let in, and the more TAs I let in, the less teaching I do.
Because you've already taught the TAs, and then the TAs teach freshmen. Yeah.
And so fast forward to the afternoon, and it's my varsity debate class. And this is also so funny. And friends, again, so sorry if you're not interested in teacher talk. I get it. Feel free to jump to the chapter where Maya starts
Another
talking.
reminder that you can always skip this section.
We are in the weeds right now, and I understand that. So my varsity debate section, because there's like the acting class, the debate class, and then there's like the speech persuasive class.
Yeah.
This is the debate class. This was the one that last year, my first year in the program, I probably had the least control over.
That makes sense.
Not like in a they're disrespecting me kind of way, but kind of like the cake was put in 50 minutes ago. It's pretty much baked at this point.
Yeah.
You know, enjoy what's about to come out, but like
there's nothing you can do.
It's pretty stabilized. And I hadn't really realized that until yesterday when I'm looking at this period again.
Yeah.
And it's now like half of my freshmen from last year are now sophomores.
Mm-hmm.
And we have this really tiny class in between because the teacher before me was criminally awful. So we have legitimately 2 juniors in that class, and it's a class of 40.
Mm-hmm.
And that can only be entered by sophomores, juniors, or seniors.
Yeah.
And looking at them, I'm like, oh, this is my crew now.
Oh.
And I'm telling them a story from some of the freshman classes, and I go, because when we walk into a debate round, our goal is to what? And then all the sophomores go, win. And none of the juniors or seniors know what the callback is. And I'm like, oh, I can tell who I trained. Oh, I can tell which ones have been mine from day one. You know?
Oh my God.
Just to kind of clear my name a little bit. The full saying is you are
I don't feel like you need to.
expected and required to be kind, cordial, and make friends before the round and after the round.
Yeah.
You are expected to be wonderful community members.
Yeah. And they are.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, obviously, with the number
There's
of kids we have, there's 1 or 2 like incidences that will happen every now and then. But I think cultural wise, yes. But when we're in that round, our job is to win.
Yeah.
And if your opponent makes a mistake, it's not your job to ignore it.
Yeah.
Right? And there's ways to do that unethically, and there's ways to do that ethically. And obviously, we have a preference as to which way you approach those kind of things. But like ultimately, at the end of the day, the goal is to win.
Yeah.
And because oftentimes I find my female identifying debaters especially are hesitant to go for that final kill shot where my boy debaters aren't. So I kind of like creating this ethos where it's like, it's okay to ask a question that you feel is rude because you know they're not going to be able to answer it because you've won this debate now, right? And so when I go, because when we're in the debate class, our goal is to what? Win. And out of all of those sophomores, there's like 20 of them, 18 of them are female identified. I'm doing good work. I don't know what else to say, you know?
No, I love that.
So it's just been wonderful. It has just been, it's great to see these kids. It's great to really like be a part of this program. It's great to have like my feet under me in my second year at this school. And these kids are curious and they want to connect with each other and they have thoughts and dreams, and it's...
Yeah, I have more experience with your like interp and speech kids,
right.
I think in general, but your debate kids scare me sometimes. I'm absolutely telling the truth. I'm not making that up. They're just so eloquent, and then also so intelligent, and then out of round when you're like trying to get them to a hotel room, you're like, oh, you're just a shithead teenager. Never mind.
Right, and that's so beautiful because the speech kids are so approachable and elegant, but also like you'll find them with a cup of noodles and like maybe like a bonnet on or something in the end of the evening, right? The debate kids at the tournament, they're like almost like living computers, right?
Some of them don't change out of their debate like uniform or like their nice clothing, and the speech kids will be like in full sweatpants.
Correct, because then at the hotel, while the speech kids are in full sweatpants, maybe sharing stories.
Yes,
my debate boys are downstairs in the hotel kitchen, or like little kitchenette area, trying to microwave a frozen lasagna they'd gotten at Target, threatening to burn down the entire hotel.
I have a very distinct memory of that encounter.
I will say, after I like told them to stop, they took a plastic spoon and fished out the center of the lasagna, removed the frozen core center, put the rest back in, baked it like a lasagna bagel. And they were right, actually. It does bake more thoroughly when you take the center part out.
That is how thermodynamics works. I'm glad they're figuring that out now.
I mean, I learned something that night, so.
Thermodynamics is everywhere.
Other fun stories from school specifically. This is fun. I've told you guys, but I don't think I've told them yet. The student teacher.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't told them though, right? No.
I don't think so.
First day of work. you can spot the student teacher instantly because they're like the most formal, dressed up ever. This person has a tie on.
Yeah.
He has slacks that definitely have been to like a fraternity formal before. And I'm just like, I want to go over there and be like, you're not trying to sell us a used car. Like most of us are contractually required to be here. But like, I don't know. What is this? I don't know if any of these clothes are clean. You know what I mean?
That's how I feel at my office too. Like we all started playing that game where we're all going to dress up every day. And then pretty quickly it devolved into like, if you wear a nice pair of jeans, that counts.
Right.
And like sneakers and like a decent top, you know? And some of these people come in for interviews. It's the interviews always that are dressed in like a full suit. And it's like, oh, baby.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. Like, oh, you're really trying right now.
You're
and
trying
that's
so hard.
Good. Don't let that dissuade you. But you're going to be in slacks tomorrow.
Yeah.
One last final teacher story. I have more, but one last final teacher story for right now. First week, you review the like key skills that you want to build on. Even with kids that have heard this lecture for 2-3 years.
Right.
You do similar activities just to create what I like to call like a common language in the class, right? Like we're going to do an activity where we talk about like this specific set of skills. So I'm working with my acting students on like character motivation and conflict and their relationship with the other people in an audience and like what their objective is and things like that. And before I do this lesson, I look at them and I go, listen, this lesson makes me want to wear like my chacos and a culturally insensitive shawl and talk about how wonderful Taos is in November, right? And just have turquoise, big, bulky jewelry, right? And say things like, turmeric cured my aunt's cancer, right? And just like absolutely.
The handshaking really did it for me.
Just go off the deep end when it comes to like art teacher vibes.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
Like,
you are one tragedy away from that. I want you to know.
Like, would have definitely voted for Kamala Harris if I could remember to register in time, you know? Just kind of one of those things. Well, I'm not allowed to register because the home I live in has 18 people in it, but the city only allows 10, you know, kind of things like that, right? You catch me out back collecting 2-liter bottles of old soda for an art project that never happens.
You just get lined up on the windowsill.
There's a whole closet full of empty paper towel rolls. I got something planned for him. Don't touch him. Like, this lesson makes me feel that way. Because basically, this lesson really boils down to, which, you know, if you want the kids to learn, you try to boil it down to something, right? Or I'm just basically like, give me your hands. I'm like, give me your hands, give me your hands. It's the words, children. What do the words mean? What are the words? And then I just like all my bangly jewelry is hitting each other. Right, click, click, click. What are the words saying to us, children?
You're like
what are they saying to us?
The Oracle character in Harry Potter.
I'm like trying to read tea. That actually might be who I'm actively describing right now. Because the whole lesson is like, it's not about if you're memorized, my child. It's not about if you're memorized. It's about what are the words telling you to say. Practice, children. We'll come back together in 20 minutes. Practice. And the kids are like, put your coffee down, Mr. Thomas. No more caffeine for you today. I've actually directed several of my TAs in period 1, because I have 6 of them, to stop like moving the coffee further away from me when I put it down and remind me that I should probably have some water. Because the number of children I have in that class is not a number you can lose your mind with. But it's the words, children.
It's crazy in period 1 that you're like that.
My only real, new teachers listen up, my only real classroom management skill is to be just so nuclear fusion levels high energy that there is no escaping the amount of oxygen I am consuming in this room.
You and I have such vastly different approaches to dealing with our coworkers, our peers.
Because the children that want to misbehave don't want to be in the light of whatever weird supernova sun I have become.
Created.
And it's just kind of easier for them to move to the dark corners and then stay quiet as I'm like, but it's the words, children. Why would you say blithely there? No, not you, Maia. Why would Meryl Streep's character say the word blithely, which was a monologue we did today? Why would she literally, I'm sorry, and the story ends here. Here are the 4 monologues the kids got to pick from for my, but it's the words,
it's the words, children. Activity. Now emphasize a different word.
No, for reals, one of my feedback
Emphasize
is...
the third word instead of the second word, and now you're going to emphasize the fourth word instead of the third word.
I don't care why Maia Warner would say it that way. Why would Miranda Priestley say it that way? So it's the cerulean speech from
I don't
Devil
know if you
Wears
guys
Prada.
saw Grant's body language in that moment. That was the most unhinged thing I've seen him do.
Because the lesson is 99% this, and then right before it's done, I'm like, so who has Iowa State in the football game this
and
Saturday?
they're like, Jesus
and all
Christ.
the kids, no, for reals. Oh, who was it? A kid was like, oh, like I was in North Carolina, and I was like, oh, what's there? And they go, oh, my parents, they like used to work at a university there, and I was like, oh, what university? And they're like, North Carolina State. And I was like, oh, you guys watching the big NC State East Carolina game on Saturday? And she goes, yeah. Like 8 kids are like, what the?
Who is this man?
So the monologues are,
Yeah.
didn't forget, cerulean speech.
Yes, obviously.
Miranda Priestley, Devil Wears Prada.
Yeah.
Should I say it like Las Culturistas nominations? Yeah. The nominees are Statue of Liberty speech, Clueless.
Oh, that's a good
The
one.
Haitians. There Will Be Dancing, My Best Friend's Wedding. George's phone call to Julia Roberts at the very end.
Oh,
when
okay.
he reminds her everything will be all right.
Yeah.
And Women Are Born with Pain, Fleabag.
I have literally no notes.
Yeah. There is at least one male voice in there.
Yeah.
It's a gay one,
You
but
need
there's
to
a
get
male voice in there.
the monologue from Baby Reindeer. Did you ever watch it?
No, I don't like dystopia stuff. It scared me.
It's not dystopian.
She stalks him.
Okay. You can still watch the monologue. I don't know what the fuck the problem
You
is.
see, debaters, you're not here to make friends. You're here to win this argument.
I've never had a problem. Casey and I actually had to have a conversation where he was like, I feel like you were like shooting me down a lot tonight. And I was like, I wasn't shooting you down. I was stating facts. We had to have that conversation where like, no, I'm a bitch. Like, that's just who I am. I'm sorry I didn't filter what I said.
Gosh.
I was just saying what I saw.
Is this just the entire episode tonight? Just me riffing on debate for an hour and a half? No.
It feels fine.
You worked panically very hard on this episode, and I want to hear it.
Okay. I don't know if he actually does or not.
No, I really do. I'm just
Do you have
kind of...
any clue what it is?
None whatsoever.
None whatsoever.
I, at times, remember what my story think it's going to be. I'm also just kind of running the tape back as to, like, when I started pulling the thread about 12 minutes ago.
Yeah.
And what it looked like when I was done unraveling. And I'm excited to listen for a little bit.
I hope you guys see the difference between the Grant I get after school versus the Grant I get after like a summer day. Because it's so different. And we don't talk about this enough. I also have adjustments to make. He comes in real hot.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's why I like mummify myself over the summer a lot of times, you know?
It's true. I'm gonna start with a question, and if you don't know the answer, that's okay. Or don't have a good answer. How much do you know about ancient Greece?
Oh, well, what period?
We're talking
Oh, I'm so excited.
Mycenaean.
Is it in ancient Greece? Is that what today's story is?
Mm-hmm. Mycenaean to Dark Ages to Archaic.
Okay. That's like very, very... That's pre-golden golden age of Greece, right?
Yes.
Probably,
yeah, this is before Common Era.
Right, so that's before Bronze Age collapse?
This is, I think around the Bronze Age collapse.
Okay. Listeners at home, this is way before Alexander the Great's time.
We're going to mention him very briefly, but we're talking before him, mainly.
But does the story get up to his time?
Yeah, for like a second, we touch on him.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, well, I'm excited.
Do you have anything you want to say
about
ancient Greece?
I mean, yes, and, one, I just found out I completely butchered some of those timelines a little bit. That's tough. I mean, do you want me to talk about their, like, geopolitical situation?
Yeah, sure.
Oh, do you?
I don't care.
Is it not included in the story?
No.
Oh, I mean, no, I'll just add it when it feels needed.
Okay.
Sorry, the like history nerd in me is like not your episode, Grant. Like reel it in.
I wanted to text you to be like, prepare this, but then I was like, no, it makes it so obvious. I'm not going to say anything. If he knows it, he knows it. If he doesn't, he doesn't.
Are we talking about, can I use one word?
Yeah.
To make a guess?
Yeah.
I'm going to pause for a second in case you want to cut it.
Yeah.
Oracle.
No.
So we're not talking about the Oracle of Delphi.
Nope.
Great. Okay, sorry. And we're back.
So the Archaic period in Greece usually refers to the years 700 to 480 BC, or 500 if people are rounding. This period is known for its art, architecture, and philosophy. Prior to this period, notably, was the Dark Ages, where people didn't write a ton down, so we don't have a ton of history. Basically, like they call it the Dark Ages because it's dark to historians for a lot of reasons. We have written history from before, and we have written history from after. So that'll become an aspect of what we're talking about.
Nice.
But the Greek Dark Ages, during this time, people are scattered throughout Greece in small farming villages. As these villages start to grow, they're increasing in complexity. They're building walls, they're building marketplaces and community meeting areas, and they're forming what are called poleis, or city-states. And this is the time period wherein the governments start to form. Some are raising armies, some are raising taxes, and each poleis, I hope I'm pronouncing that right. I don't know.
It's all Greek to me.
It's all... Wow. Each poleis was said to be protected by a particular god or goddess, which would then be the primary god of the citizens that lived in that city-state. And they would give that god reverence, respect, and sometimes sacrifice, depending on the god. Some polis were as small as a few hundred people, and others were larger, like Sparta, which controlled around 300 square miles of territory. To conceptualize this, as of the 2020 U.S. Census, that is the size of New York City.
Like that's the geographical
size of
not
New
the
York
population.
City.
Obviously.
No, not the population, but that is the geographic size. At the beginning of the Archaic period, so the early Archaic period will start in about 900, and then the Archaic period will start in about 700. The city-state started to have notable characteristics. They had economies largely based in agriculture, not trade, which meant that land was their most valuable resource. Most of these city-states had done away with kings and were ruled instead by a small number of wealthy aristocrats, making it an aristocracy. The aristocrats would tend to monopolize their power and their farmlands, and one way that they maintained their power is to claim that they were descendants from gods. Since land is their most valuable resource, and also distinctly a finite resource, people who did not have land would then move away from their home city-state into rural areas and kind of gather, creating colonial poleis. Unlike the colonialism that we see in modern day, these colonial poleis were independent from the home poleis. They were independent completely financially and were not controlled by any of the other major poleis.
They would maintain like an economic relationship with these places, but they're self-governed.
They're self-governed.
Yeah.
So as time progressed, some city-states began to produce consumer goods like pottery, cloth, wine, metalwork, instead of just producing the farm for themselves. This leads to more people gaining wealth and joining the aristocracy, but they are kept out of the ruling class, which then makes it an oligarchy because there's a ruling class of specific people making all of the decisions.
Old money versus new money. Tale as old as time.
Yeah, exactly.
Also, 3 seasons of it on HBO titled The Gilded Age. You need to be watching. Continue.
I think about that at least like twice a day now. I want you to know.
That you should be watching The Gilded Age?
Yeah. Well,
Good.
Okay. I was listening to, very quick side tangent, I was listening to Pod Save America the other day, and they were talking about, Stevens, one of the big politician's name is Stevens, and then his wife, Katie Stevens, I think, was like a spokesperson for Doge. Anyway, she's left, and now she's started a podcast. And so this episode of Pod Save America was literally just like dissecting her first podcast episode. Honestly, hysterical.
Schadenfreude. Joy in other people's misery.
Yes. Oh, yeah, 100%. And it was, her first interview was with JD Vance, and it was just the weirdest conversation I had ever seen. And she talks about, or both of them talk about how they watch The Gilded Age with their partners. And
I certainly hope JD Vance got permission from her husband to be alone in a room with her.
Yeah. Good.
I just want him to live in the world that he wants all of us to live in.
Exactly.
Please continue.
Katie was like, obviously is still watching it with her husband, but is like, you like how woke it's gotten? You've noticed how woke it's gotten? And then we're talking about like a specific actress. I can't remember the actress's name, but then JD Vance was like, oh, this person, like, I don't know, in The Gilded Age, she seems like a real person, like not just like woke fanatic. It's just like, what?
They're going to make me vote for Gavin Newsom.
Yeah,
and that's what's pissing me off about it.
Okay, Gavin Newsom's PR team, fucking killing it right now.
Have you seen what California voters say, though?
Oh, they hate it.
There's only 2 things Gavin Newsom hates. homeless people and Republicans, and he's all out of homeless people. Yeah, which is mainly because of his, like, at times inhumane treatment of the unhoused population of California. That TikTok was a direct quote. But yeah, I'll vote for the T-Rex to eat the Velociraptor. Yeah, I would do that.
Fight fire with fire.
100%.
We need it. Okay. Back to ancient Greece.
Right. Okay, good. And that's
so we're having a new class of wealthy people rise up, and the existing ruling class of like generational wealth is like, fuck you, no, we're ruling. And so they keep those people out of the ruling class, making it an oligarchy instead of an aristocracy. Some of the city-states, the people in the city-states didn't like that the aristocrats were doing that and that it was becoming an oligarchy. And so they would overthrow those leaders and put new leaders in charge. And those leaders would be known as tyrants. And that is a tyrannical government. Tyrants have a negative connotation, but some of these tyrants did do good things for their city-states. For example, Phaedon of Argos established a system of weights and measures, and then Theagenes of Megara brought running water to his city. So there are some positives, albeit probably a lot of social negatives. But when we transition from the archaic period to the classical period around the turn of the century, this is when political reforms were happening to the system of ancient Greece, and this is when we get ancient Greek democracy for the first time. With the move of people as they spread out, as they moved from their home Peleus and created these colonial city-states and then grew those into their own functioning governments, this also meant that Greek styles of art and literature are being spread, and they're able to evolve and progress, which made progress in the arts as well as in science and math. During this time, a lot of sculptors were known for making really cool new things. The theory of gravity was devised. The discovery of fossils was written about. Pythagoras discovered the Pythagorean theorem. Absolutely, queen. And Homer wrote the Iliad and the Odyssey. Around the same time, Hesiod wrote the Theogony and the Work of Days. This is from a historian, an ancient Greek historian that came.
I'm just so happy right now.
I know.
I'm like on an airplane. I'm like, my little history podcast is playing.
Good. Herodotus is an ancient Greek historian. He came maybe a couple centuries after Homer and Hesiod. And he said, quote, "I suppose Hesiod and Homer are the ones who taught the Greeks the descent of the gods and gave the gods their names and determined their spheres and functions and described their outward forms. Today, Grant, we are talking about Greek mythology."
Oh, yeah, we are. Hell yes, we are.
First, we're going to talk about some of the historical context of Greek mythology, how it came to be, who wrote about it, how the people who wrote about it got those ideas. And then we're going to deep dive into some particular characters of Greek mythology, how they've morphed throughout the years and how we got them to where they are and some of their most notable stories.
I'm so excited.
This is my gift
excited.
To you.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Quick little plug. If you haven't read Natasha Pauly's The Hymn to Dionysus, we'd really encourage you to read it.
That is the reason I'm doing this episode.
It's the Grant and Maya book club episode. I don't know what to tell you. Someone call Reese Witherspoon.
You're going to die at this. Okay. My sources. First, no, I did not read the Iliad and the Odyssey for this episode. Wasn't about to do that shit again.
You watched Oh Brother, We're Out There. Yeah, I get you.
I read a lot of Spark Notes and other associated sources that do summaries like that. And I read a lot of analyses. The same goes for Hesiod's texts. He wrote Theogony and Work of Days. So I relied on those. Otherwise, the Theoi project, I don't know if I'm saying that right. It's THEOI. It's like a huge website, and it literally has massive pages about any character in Greek mythology that you can think of. And it goes through and it literally takes the quotes out from the source material and tells you what year they're from. And like, so you can literally track the changing of some of these characters over time. Fascinating. So if you're interested, that's where I would first go. But the Theoi Project, as well as BBC, PBS, Britannica, SparkNotes, Super Summary, Lit Charts, American Repertory Theater, Harvard Center for Hellenic Studies, Wheaton College, Randolph College, and a video that was actually super useful from Overly Sarcastic Productions on YouTube. 10 out of 10 recommend. It's linked in my show notes. It was really good.
And viewers like you.
Is
what that last YouTube channel is giving a little bit.
It was good.
Good.
Note to future Maia. never assume that because it's Greek mythology and you read Percy Jackson one time and had a hyperfixation phase in elementary school that you can do Greek mythology and wait until the last couple days to put a story together. Never do this shit again. It is so much more complicated than you think.
Can I ask a question? And I don't know if this is staying in or not. Did you see me do a couple episodes of stories I was clearly already an expert in before, and you were like, well, if Grant do it, it can't be that hard?
It wasn't even something that I thought of. I was just like, oh, it's Greek mythology. Like, yeah, it can't be that difficult. No, it's so fucking difficult because none of the stories match up.
Right.
You can't actually back any shit up.
Correct. So the reason why I wanted to ask was because, like, A, those are just like lessons I had already written.
Yeah.
But B, there is still, and I just don't text this because I'm a man, so I don't talk about what causes me anxiety.
Yeah.
There was still panic on the back end about like, oh my God, what's the narrative that we're going to get there? And I'm like, yeah, I'm excited to talk to you today, Maia.
That was me last night. I did not know the order in which this story was going to go until about 10 p.m. last night. And I was like, okay. Now I need to fill in all of the gaps. And there were a lot of gaps.
What time did you text me today about when we're doing this? Was it closer to 4, right?
Yeah, probably.
I think I was around getting close to driving home around that time.
Yeah.
And I've been listening to Anthony Bourdain's book, more to talk about during the Patreon. But I'm basically at this section where I'm at a red light because it's traffic.
Yeah.
I'm looking at your text message. I'm reading it. I think I finally figured out how I'm going to structure this. And I just hear Anthony's voice go, fuck you, Tony. And then I cut him with a knife, right? Or whatever else. Because like, phenomenal. So I can't wait for it.
Okay. We're talking about mythology. So your trigger warnings are a lot.
Yeah.
They're all happening to mythological characters. The stories are, for the most part, made up. But that being said, we will have mentions of unconsensual relations, and there will be mentions of some violent deaths.
And with it, let's get into it.
So, some brief history on the history of the text. It seems that the Iliad was probably the first written source of Greek mythology, and it was written in the 800s BC, most likely. The Theogony, written by Hesiod, was written in the 800s or 700s, and then Work and Days, also by Hesiod, was probably in the 700s. And then the Odyssey was probably the newest. It was estimated to be 725 to 675 BCE. The Iliad, if you don't know, is about the Trojan War, specifically 1 year of the Trojan War. It's 9 years into the 10-year siege of the city of Troy. It follows the Achaeans, which are the Greeks, and it specifically follows their greatest warrior who is known for his lightning speed, whose name is Achilles. Something I didn't know is that historians actually weren't sure for a really long time if Troy even existed. And now we know it existed, but historians are unsure if this war was an actual thing that happened. And obviously that's not including the intervention of the gods that Homer like put into the story, but like just the actual war itself, if that incident is based in reality. The argument, arguing that the Trojan War happened, is that Homer depicts some really violent shit, and they're like, but how would he know? And the other argument is that he just does a really good job of depicting how people react in wartime and how would he know? So that's not a good argument. But anyway, at this point, most agree that Troy was a real city. People believe it is Hisarlik in modern day Turkey. Ancient historians are able to place these events in time. Herodotus placed the theoretical Trojan War at 800 years before his own time, which would be like 1300 or 1200 BCE. And then another mathematician, Eratosthenes, would date it at like very specifically 1184 or 83 BCE.
Okay, that's very specific.
Yeah, I was like, okay. Anyway, real or not, this story that's presented in the Iliad becomes a huge part of history and cultural identity for the Greeks and the Romans. The Romans will literally present themselves as the survivors of Troy. And notably, the Iliad does not see the end of the Trojan War. It literally sees just an event that happens towards the end of the siege of Troy. This story also inspires spin-off stories like the Aeneid by Virgil, which does show the end of the war. And anyway, that poem is actually where we get the story of the Trojan horse. I always thought it was the Iliad. I guess I just never read all of it.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
We don't get that in the Iliad.
I thought it was from the Brad Pitt movie, Troy.
And then the other thing, the myth that we have all come to associate with Achilles, the Achilles heel, if you're not aware, the myth is that his mother wanted him to live forever or not die, was scared for his death, and dipped him in the river Styx, which made him impervious to like mortal wounds, but she had to hold him in one spot, and so she held him at his Achilles heel, and so that was his only weakness, and then he gets shot in that heel. That's actually maybe not actually canonical at all. It may have just been a misinterpretation.
He gets shot with an arrow, just in case we're not.
Yeah, shot with an arrow, not a, like an AK-47.
Someone enjoy being like,
yeah.
aim for his feet.
I mean, that's also a way to die.
But it's Orlando Bloom that shoots him, right?
Yes, obviously.
Okay, that's what I thought. Here's the thing. While this is a joke, this is also piecing up together for a small portion of our listeners. They're like, okay. When Orlando Bloom shoots Brad Pitt. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you get it. You're there now. You can see it in your eye.
Okay. The Achilles heel story also does not originate with the Iliad. In fact, this part of Achilles' character might not even have been the original story at all, and it may have been a misinterpretation of a lot of factors of Achilles' storyline, as well as a lot of paintings that we have of showing him being shot in the foot, but that might have been more of a statement on how fast he was and not where his weaknesses were. Anyway, and then the Odyssey, written also by Homer, is the journey of a warrior in the Greek army going back to his hometown of Ithaca. And it takes place 10 years after the end of the war, and he still hasn't returned home because if you haven't read the Odyssey, he gets like captured by like a lot of people and tricked into like living a domestic life with like a bunch of random witches and shit.
If I remember, he also doesn't seem to be in a huge hurry to get back home to Ithaca.
No.
We can kick around here for a little bit.
Yeah. I believe there's a musical about it now if you want to listen to that.
I think... I thought I saw some women singing on a beach. I think we could
just go
circle back to that.
Yeah, might as well. Cersei turns him and his entire crew into pigs for a period.
We're such nerds. We should do a podcast.
Now, wait a minute.
Would I have the time?
No, I don't want to do it because people might start requesting cameos from us.
Good. It's a really special energy in the studio tonight. I don't know what it is. It's like Christmas.
Okay. So how do we know that Homer and Hesiod didn't just invent their stories and their characters? Because one of the primary points historians will make is that Homer, who a lot think is the first one to officially write down Greek mythology, he never introduces the gods or other well-known mythical creatures because it's assumed he thought his audience would know them. So that's an argument. When Hesiod would write the Theogony, that is the first time the origin story, as it were, was written down. And so that's going to be a huge source for today. And then another reason that we know that the stories of these characters, at least the names of these characters, existed before archaic Greece or before Homer and Hesiod wrote them down. Let's talk about the timeline of the Greek periods, right? So we have the Mycenaean Greece, which is 1600 to 1100 BCE. That goes into the Dark Ages, where nothing is written down, from about 1100 to 900 BCE. Then we get early archaic Greece, 900 to 700, and then archaic Greece starting around 700.
And all of that is BCE.
BCE, before Common Era, yeah. Mycenaean Greece, and ancient and archaic Greece were incredibly different cultures, and we still don't understand totally how we got to archaic Greece because of the lack of things that were written down in the Dark Ages. The Mycenaeans used a specific type of writing style called Linear B, which would eventually kind of be rolled over into what we now know as the modern Greek language, but it wasn't really used in archaic Greece. It was primarily used in Mycenaean Greece, but it's replaced in early archaic Greece. The reason we know the gods originated in Mycenaean Greece or before is because historians have found the names of these characters and these gods written in Linear B inscriptions dating back to that time period, meaning that it had to have been written before the archaic period came about, meaning before Homer and Hesiod. It does, however, seem that the Hellenistic version of these gods, so the version of the gods that you probably read about in Percy Jackson or know just from understanding Greek mythology, you probably understand the Hellenistic version of these gods. There is a version before that Hellenistic version, and again, for most of those gods, we don't understand how they got from the Mycenaean version to the Hellenistic version because it just seems like, boom, archaic period happens. I didn't do a ton of research into the rest of the pantheon. We're going to talk about specifically about one that changes quite a bit.
Okay.
Like Hellenistic gods, Zeus is the king of gods. In Mycenaean Greece, Poseidon is the king of gods.
Oh, okay.
And in general, we don't know the role that these gods played in Mycenaean religion. Additionally, Hades doesn't seem to have been a thing in that early time. He seems to have appeared much later on.
I was wondering when we were going to get our first use of the word Hades during today's episode, so that's good to know.
You're not fucking ready for the connections I found.
I'm so ready to see the red string get pulled. I'm ready to follow along.
I didn't even have to pull it. Okay. It just came to me. Okay.
I really am excited.
Hades is not mentioned. However, Demeter and Persephone are mentioned, which I think is interesting. Mycenaean Greece, however, it did seem they tended toward chthonic gods. Chthonic gods are gods that have connections to the underworld. So the reason they think Poseidon was favored over Zeus is because Poseidon is not only the god of the sea, but also of earthquakes. And they think because of that kind of underground connection, that's why he may have been favored over Zeus in that time period.
That's such a weird connection to make. I mean, obviously it felt natural to someone at one point or another, but like, king of the ocean for sure, and the ground when it is moving. Yeah. And I can tell it's moving.
Yep, for sure. Okay. For sure.
Yeah, got it.
There's another god that is just the god of like sea storms. Like it's a name related to like typhoon or something like that.
Okay.
I was like, okay, but that's
is it like a younger brother of Poseidon?
It's a minor god. It's not one of the Olympians.
So it's not like, hey, like my brother needs a job. Like I don't really like to do this. But
No. I didn't do a deep dive into how he came to be. But
I could have outsourced earthquakes, but like that brings me joy. So
I already have the entire sea.
Right.
Okay. So that's kind of the backstory for how we get here, how we know the gods existed before they were written down. With that, let's talk about the creation story that Hesiod presents in his work, the Theogony. By the way, there's a translated copy of both the Theogony and Work of Days that are linked in my sources. It's actually shockingly easy to understand for being such an old text.
Okay.
And it is kind of really fascinating to see.
Real page turner.
I didn't get through all of it because it's long as shit, but yeah. So if you've watched Hercules, you've seen some of this.
Zero to hero.
At the beginning, it was just chaos, which was a yawning nothingness. Chaos is also referred to as the chasm. Out of this void, out of chaos, emerged Gaia, aka the earth, and other divine beings. Would you like to share?
And then along came Zeus, he shone his lightning. It's just like, that is what's playing in my head right now, Doris. It's not even like lined up with your story.
And as you should.
But
I feel that. That's fine.
That's what I'm laughing at right now.
Good.
But God was too type-A to just relax. And that's the world's first dish. I'm not going to keep singing.
I love just staring at Grant and seeing how long it takes him to be uncomfortable.
That's the gospel truth. Do. You know what I'm talking about.
No, I know exactly what
I
you're
don't think
about.
she does, listener.
The muses, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I think for Patreon tonight, I will go get us drinks and you will just do like your version of a shower concert, but it's a studio concert and it's just the musical from Disney's
Thank
Hercules.
you for giving me the space to do that. I've always wanted that.
You're welcome. I support and believe women. It's a little inside joke, but also
you do.
a fact about me.
You do believe and support women? Okay. We've literally made it 2 bullet points into the creation story.
No, I've been so quiet. I've been like,
No, it's okay. The story is relatively short, at least for me. We have chaos. That's the vast nothingness. Out of the chaos emerged Gaia, the earth, and a couple other divine beings. Eros, who is love. The abyss, which is a section of the underworld being named Tartarus. And then Erebus, which is the unknown place where death dwells. That's a direct quote from Hesiod. And then also night. So Gaia, without any male assistance, Helios Queen, gives birth to Uranus, sometimes also referred to as Oranos, who is the sky/heaven, who then fertilized her.
Good.
Love a good Adam and Eve moment. So Gaia and Uranus gave birth to the first Titans. There will be 6 males and 6 females. These 12 will make up the primordial Titans, and we'll talk about that in a second. But so the 6 males are, I'm going to butcher these names, and I'm so sorry. Coeus, who is the Titan of intellect and the axis of the heavens, which is like the North Pole, South Pole. Creus, which is the Titan of the constellations. Kronos, which is the Titan of time. He is probably the most important. He is like the Zeus counterpart of the Titans. Hyperion, who is the Titan of heavenly light. Iapetus, who is of mortality. And then Oceanus, who is obviously the sea. Then the 6 females. We have Mnemosyne. Oh, God. Okay. Mnemosyne, Titan of memory. She will come back. Phoebe, who is the Titan of intellect and prophecy. Rhea, who is of fertility and motherhood. Thea, of sight. Themis, of divine law and order. And Tethys, who is of fresh water. The last to be born is Kronos, so the Titan of time. After Kronos is born, Gaia and Uranus call it quits on the whole birthing Titans thing. And I don't know if they actually called it quits or if Gaia called it quits and then Uranus didn't really get the hint. And then Kronos was like, I protect my mother at all costs, and then cut off his father's genitals. One way or another, he cut off his father's genitals.
Talk about a man who supports and believes women.
Yeah. And so... He cuts off Uranus's genitals and throws them into the sea. As you can imagine, there's some blood that happens in that moment. So some of the blood goes into the sea. Out of Uranus's blood mixed with the sea foam comes Aphrodite, the goddess of love, beauty, and sexuality.
Hit me with that again. Sorry. She emerges. Go ahead.
She emerges from Uranus's blood mixed with sea foam.
Okay. And that's blood specifically from Uranus's
genitals.
Cool. Castrated genitals. Gotcha.
Yeah,
cool.
castrated genitals.
Okay.
Some of the blood will then drip to the earth, and out of that, did I write it down? I think it's the fates that emerge from that. I could be wrong. We'll get back to that.
Imagine
something else emerges.
Literally the worst day of your life, birthing another god and an incredible gospel band.
Yeah.
And that's jazz.
And that's jazz. Oh my God. Okay. No, when I say Gaia and Uranus stop birthing Titans, that does not mean that more Titans don't happen. Like it does. Sure. It's not just 12 or 13 Titans, including Uranus. Some of the other Titans get together. So for example, Hyperion, who is the Titan of heavenly light, and Thea, the Titan of sight, get together, and they have Helios, who is the Titan of the sun, and then Selene, the Titan of the moon, and then Eos, who is the Titan of dawn. Helios, actually, fun fact, will have a daughter named Circe, and just a little fun fact for Grant, another daughter named Helleides.
Okay. Why is that fun for me?
That's the last name of the main character of hymns Dionysus.
Oh, okay, thank you. I'm thinking of its connection to helium gas right now.
That's a crazy time for you to just be in science.
Because Zeus in heaven wept.
Jesus Christ.
Like we are for sure like we're in the afters now up here. Mentally, we're in the afters party, okay?
Oh, I've been knowing.
It's been a long day.
I have hair somewhere on my face and I can't find it. Sorry you had to see that.
Type A to just relax. I'm not going to keep singing.
He says for the second time.
Bombastic side-eye. Please start.
Bombastic side-eye.
Please start reading again.
Innovation.
Stop me.
And I will not. I actually made a whole podcast on not stopping you.
That's the gospel truth.
Oh, it got sad that time.
I'm dynamic. Classically trained.
Kronos.
Sure.
Castrates his father.
Right.
Uranus or Oranos. And throws those genitals into the sea, out of which emerges Aphrodite, the goddess of love, beauty, and sexuality. Fun fact, they call her genial because she was born from genitals.
That's where we get the word genial from? Oh, that's making its way into discussion tomorrow. Oh, that's making its way into discussion. I was going to have the kids Google, are we on the edge of an AI bubble? But now we're going to do origin of the word genial instead. Almost taught them something there.
Please tell me their reactions. I'm dying to know.
I gotta go home. No, I'm kidding. Obviously, I'm kidding. I love this episode.
You're gonna die. We're not even to the part that I think you're gonna be the most excited by. Okay. So after this, Kronos becomes the ruler of the Titans with his sister wife, Rhea, as his consort. And the remaining Titans were then his court. Trigger warning, there's going to be a mention of asexual assault in a bit. Kronos is distrustful of his offspring that he has with Rhea, maybe because he himself betrayed his father. I don't know, just spitballing here. So every time Rhea gives birth, Kronos snatches up the child and eats it.
What?
Yep.
He's eating his own children?
He's eating his own children.
Okay.
He eats 5 of them. The legend goes that Kronos actually rapes Rhea, that's how these first 6 are born. And so the kids that Rhea will have are Hestia, the goddess of the hearth, Demeter, the goddess of agriculture. She will be the mother of Persephone. Hera, the goddess of marriage and childbirth. Hades, the god of the underworld. Poseidon, the god of sea and earthquakes. So those are the first 5. Hestia, Demeter, Hera, Hades, and Poseidon.
And Kronos eats all of them?
Yep, all 5.
Like as a baby?
Yep. Unclear if it's like all one time or if it's, I think it's one at a time.
Not to be logical when it comes to Greek mythology.
Drop that. It's not gonna serve you at all.
So they're born god of sea and earthquakes and then eaten?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep. Finally, Rhea is pregnant with her 6th child and she's like, I've had it. I've had it with my husband eating the children I am bearing and birthing for him.
Talk about term limits.
Yeah. And so she decides that she's going to trick Kronos. And so when she has the next child, who is a boy, she wraps a stone in a blanket and gives it to him. And he obviously doesn't look and just eats the stone. What really happens is she asks her parents, so Gaia and Ouranos, who I want to mention are also Kronos' parents.
And Ouranos, who's maybe also Uranus.
Who is Uranus? Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah, sorry. Those names are interchangeable. I'll do my best, but they're the same person or the same character. So Rhea asks her parents Gaia and Uranus to raise her youngest in hiding so Kronos doesn't eat him. That child is Zeus, the god of the sky.
Sorry, it's just as a child, stay with me.
Okay.
Stay with me. As a family, we'd go to Mexican restaurants.
No, you've lost it.
And at a certain point, my parents would have to move the chips and salsa further away from me.
That's literally what's happening.
Thank you.
That's literally what's happening. Rhea's like,
That's why I said stay with me.
yeah. Fair enough. You got me. Okay. So Rhea has tricked her husband, assaulter, whatever. I don't know if they're married or if that's even a thing at that point. So Zeus survives. Zeus is not eaten. Zeus will grow up and eventually will come back to his father and give him a drugged drink, which will cause Kronos to vomit up his 5 other siblings.
Okay. So, like, no kombuchas, no, like, flaxseed salads.
No.
The most unregulated stomach biome you have ever seen.
Yeah, because
Jacob and Lydia would have a lot of
5
recommendations.
children in there.
Again, my logical brain does not belong here because I'm like, it's at least 9 months between every child, right? Like, what's that digestion period like?
The gods mature from baby to like full adult in about 4 days sometimes.
How am I supposed to know that?
I don't know. I don't know. I also don't know.
So it's like the story is literally like later that week, full-grown adult Zeus smites his dad.
I don't know if Zeus
And
was
meets
raised in
his
4 days.
adult siblings.
Yeah.
Great.
I don't know. Sure. Okay. So I don't know why I mentioned this. This is the bullet I wrote. When Zeus grew up, he fed his father a drug drink, which caused Kronos to vomit up his siblings, parenthesis, and the stone. Because that was important to me at 10 p.m. last night.
It was Malort, and that's where we get Malort from.
Interesting. Okay. So Zeus would then challenge Kronos to a war for the kingship of the gods. So Zeus and his siblings plus Aphrodite, because I don't know if you can count her as a sibling or not, are now known as the Olympians. So those are the first 7 Olympians. They are victorious, and they're going to throw the Titans down into the abyss to be imprisoned. This whole war is called the Titanomachy, and to be clear, Titan Omaki.
Listen, I know this isn't Thanksgiving on my mom's side of the family, but real quick. So Zeus and all of his gagged up siblings are now going after their aunts and uncles.
Yes, not no.
Also
uncles.
known as the Titans.
Just uncles, just the
okay then.
Primordial uncles.
Great.
So the first few, minus Oceanus, who is like, I'm neutral. He's Sweden in this. So he gets to be free.
He's actually Oceania in all of this. The region just north of Australia. It's a geography joke. His name's Oceanus.
Shut the fuck up.
You're right. I'm the ridiculous one. Meanwhile, Zeus and his merry band of gag kids
blame Hesiod.
Are like, all right, uncles, get in jail. And what happens to Kronos?
Kronos, I don't know if he dies or if he gets locked up. I'm not sure. Oh no, he does get locked up.
Kronos is like, no, last night was like crazy. Like I went home and vomited like 7 kids. It was like crazy what happened last night.
I don't even remember any of it, I swear.
My sister wife's acting like so uncontrollable right now.
Jesus Christ.
Anyone got any stones? I'm kind of hungry.
I don't know what to do with you right now.
I get home, no purse or new baby, right? But a stone, like my drunk ass.
It's a conversation we would have.
I know. Would have.
When did you vomit a stone?
Don't ask questions about my private life. Who are you? This country in 18 months? Oh, sorry. Is that too close to home?
A little bit. A little fucking bit.
Whoever's closest to Trump right now, please make Aphrodite.
Yeah.
It's not a threat.
Wait a minute.
It's a metaphor.
You're asking his youngest son to cut off his genitals.
Oh, you mean I want Baron to make him Baron?
That's shocking. Anyway,
I feel good about this episode.
I rarely have any control over how they go. Okay. So, Zeus and his fellow Olympians, as well as some other allies that they make, which includes like the river Styx and some others, I don't know. They will throw the primordial male titans into the abyss, which is a section of hell, basically. So the ones that they will throw in are Kronos, Crius, Coeus, Hyperion, and Epetus. The female titans and Oceanus had conveniently remained neutral during that war, and so they were allowed to stay out.
Just to be able to peek that group chat, you know?
Oh my God. Did you guys hear?
I'm sorry. It's canonical. Oceanus is gay. So it's just called like girls and gays.
Girls and gays. Oceanus is like, I swear to God, these men. Okay. Generational trauma time. Zeus does not trust familial love one more time. Because Zeus is also distrustful of his offspring.
No, like I know he's done like really bad things, but you have like no idea what his relationship with his dad is like, and he's like, he's like still working through that. And I'm sorry, like none of us are perfect. So what? He's had sex with like a lot of different women. Okay,
a lot. I'm gonna talk about it. Okay. Zeus is given a prophecy that his first wife, Metis, would give birth to a god greater than he. And so he swallowed Metis.
Don't say that's where we get the word medicine from.
I don't think so. It's METIS.
That makes me feel slightly better.
He swallows Metis, who he does.
Why is eating the only way of taking...
I don't know.
Sorry. I was about to say, why is eating the only way to take care of your problems? And then I remembered
Wait a minute, it is.
The only way I have ever taken care of a
is
problem.
Eating. Do you want to talk about it later, by the way? I've thought about it at least twice.
We'll talk.
Okay. So he swallows Metis, not knowing that she is already pregnant.
2 for 1.
So the next bullet, I don't know canonically when it happens. Some sources kind of implied that it might have happened, like she might be one of the last of Zeus's offspring to be born. But what will eventually happen is that Zeus is made very sick because he swallowed his pregnant wife.
Right.
And eventually Athena, the goddess of wisdom, civilization, and justice, bursts from Zeus's head.
Damn, double homicide.
Fully grown and dressed for war. Nope, Zeus survives.
So the only woman who dies
is Metis, I think.
I was going to say medicine, but I was like, not it. Metis. The only woman who dies is Metis.
I think.
Okay.
I think. Yeah. So just a quick note, in case anything I've said has not agreed with what you know. That's the beauty of these myths, right? Because they were spoken word before they were written down. And so we're just fucking around and finding out.
Respect my beliefs.
Yeah, respect my beliefs.
Pew, pew, pew.
These stories were changeable for a reason because they served a purpose to answer questions that the current society and culture had, right? So they were meant to address society as it was, not be a canonical story that lived through the ages like it is now. And for many centuries following the first written versions of these stories, there's a lot of retellings and different tellings, which is why none of the stories will line up. Some of them will line up for sure, but there's a lot of different ways characters get to certain places. Even today, Hymn to Dionysus is just a new retelling of an old story, right?
No, these are just stories crafted to get powerful people out of sticky situations by creating the illusion of truth, which is fortunately not something we see anymore today. And that's why our president is the leader of family values on his third marriage, publicly ogling his own daughter. He's a master of deal making, even though he's been bankrupt 100 times. He's the law and order president, even though he's our currently only person to ever be elected president with felonies. Like, that doesn't happen anymore today, which is good.
It doesn't. Never. It never happens. The beauty of the Greek system is that there's multiple gods. And so some gods are for that purpose. Other gods are for other purposes.
America's always been monotheistic.
Yeah,
Sorry,
exactly.
White America has always been monotheistic.
Monotheistic. The next section is titled Zeus is a Slut. First bullet point.
It's giving coffee shop. My poem is titled Zeus is a Slut. And your gay friends in the back who drove you here in a Toyota Camry.
And already 3 wines in. Yeah. First bullet point. Get ready for Zeus to fuck.
This episode's brought to you by the Council for Family Values.
And Trojan, the condom brand.
And the Greek Embassy.
Okay. Disclaimer on everything I'm about to say.
We're not sponsored.
Yeah. That. And I don't know about the timeline on this. Like I said, Athena may have been born first or last, so I'm not sure on any of this. Yeah, so let's get into it. So obviously first, Zeus and his first wife, Metis, who was the Titan goddess of wisdom, cunning, and strategic thought, had Athena, who would burst from Zeus's head. Mm-hmm. Zeus... I didn't like the way you said
Yeah.
Zeus.
We be knowing.
Yeah. Zeus and his second wife was Themis, the Titan goddess of divine law and order.
She was his second wife.
We don't have the ability to count the number of wives and extramarital affairs this asshole's about to have. So Themis is going to give birth to the seasons and the fates. So Zeus and Eurynome, who is the Titan goddess of the sea and also maybe a sea nymph, depending on what you read.
And definitely canonically his aunt. If she's a Titan.
So the first two, Themis was his aunt, definitely. She is a primordial. Eurynome is not a primordial, so I'm not sure. I mean, definitely a cousin at the very least. Sure. Yeah. So Eurynome, they give birth to the Graces. Zeus and his sister Demeter, who is the goddess of agriculture, give birth to Persephone. Zeus and the Titan goddess of memory, it's like Mnemosyne, I cannot pronounce her name. They give birth to the 9 muses.
Wow.
Actually, it's nine days that he spends with her, sleeping with her, and that somehow produces 9 muses, and really unclear on the logistics there. The leader of the muses, the like most powerful or whatever, is named Calliope. Calliope would give birth to Orpheus.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Spell Calliope's name for me, please.
There's a bunch of different ones. It either starts with a C or a K, and then Alliope.
Okay, so in House by the Cerulean Sea, he has a cat named that, and I have been mispronouncing it in my head the entire time.
I could also be mispronouncing it.
Okay, well, I'm hearing it as Cantaloupe in my head.
Oh, well, there's no T, so.
Okay. So what goddess, what is she the goddess of?
She is not a goddess, she is a muse. She is the lead of the 9 muses, or the most powerful, most modern, whatever.
And the direct daughter of Zeus and his next lover?
No, at least not that I know of.
Okay.
We're covering a couple, essentially, of his affairs. There's a fucking lot of them, so I'm not sure. Zeus and Leto, who is the Titan goddess of motherhood, childbirth, and modesty. Leto will give birth to the twins, Apollo and Artemis. Apollo is the god of light, music, prophecy, and medicine. Artemis is the goddess of virgins and hunters. According to some sources, Apollo would eventually father a daughter named Eurydice.
Nice.
Other sources would say that Eurydice's father is Lacedaemon, whose father, Lacedaemon's father, is, you guessed it, Zeus.
Good. Okay.
So one way or another, Orpheus and Eurydice are related. Okay. Zeus's primary wife, do you know? Hera.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Hera.
Multiple choice, that's the one I'm guessing.
Yeah. She is the goddess of marriage and childbirth. They give birth to... Yeah, it's actually shocking. They give birth to Hebe, which is the god or goddess of youth. Eileithyia of childbirth. Ares, who is another Olympian, who is the god of war. So now, if you're counting, we have 9 Olympians. We have Zeus, Hera, Poseidon, Hestia, Demeter, Apollo, Artemis, Ares, and Aphrodite. Hades is not often considered an Olympian just because he is most oftentimes in the underworld and not on Mount Olympus.
Okay.
I mean, he's like technically an Olympian, but he won't be considered. So that is 9. 2 more are going to be added under unusual circumstances. One of them being Athena, who bursts from Zeus's head.
Right.
Can't stress that enough.
Apple of his eye.
Yep. And Hera, one source... There's a couple different versions of this tale. I think the primary one is the most funny, that Hera is so fucking sick of Zeus going around and cheating and producing all of these other kids that she produces this next one by her goddamn self.
I love it. Okay.
Hephaestus, who is the god of smithing and fire, he is born disabled, I believe. And so there's a whole storyline about that. I think he gets like cast out of Mount Olympus. Or maybe because he was protecting Hera from unwanted advances from Zeus and Zeus said, get out. Either way, he's an Olympian. He's also a petty bitch, which we'll talk about later. And so without Hades, that puts us at 11 Olympians. Some don't consider Hestia an Olympian, so it could be 10 or 11. Do you know the number of Olympians that we now consider there to be?
No.
12. It's a holy number. So the next one, Zeus and Maia, spelled the same way as me, by the way.
Intentionally, or your parents just...
No, it's easy. It translated better to the Japanese language the way mine is spelled than with the YA, yeah. So Zeus and Maia. Maia is a minor goddess and is a nymph of, it depends on where you look, but maybe fertility, spring, and nursing mothers. They give birth to Hermes, who is the messenger of the gods and is also the god of travelers, merchants, thieves, and some other shit.
And they're a purse brand too, I think, right?
Yep.
Hermes?
Hermes, yes. Shockingly, I don't think Zeus was really directly related to Maia. That's like the first one he's slept with.
Well, look at you, you big slut.
Yeah. Zeus is a slut. I said it. Maia is born of 2 titans, Atlas and Pleione, and I tracked those 2 like generationally, and they are not related to the titans that Zeus came from. So like they're still related, but like much farther than the other ones that he's been with.
Okay.
Zeus, the last Olympian that we're going to add, again, Hestia may or may not be an Olympian. The last Olympian that we're going to add is Zeus, an immortal woman named Semele.
Okay.
Do you know who that is?
Spell it.
Semele.
Nope.
Yes, you do.
Okay.
Semele is the granddaughter of Ares and Aphrodite, and she, from Zeus, will birth Dionysus.
Oh, fun. Okay, yeah. Then I definitely have a thoughts on him. Yeah. Or her. Sorry, mom. Yeah, mommy. I'm sorry, mamacita. What?
Grant just got so gay panic.
Love Island. I have another thing to write down.
Okay. Dionysus is the god of wine and madness. So Semele's grandfather is Zeus's son, which makes Semele Zeus's great-granddaughter.
Okay.
So Zeus slept with his great-granddaughter to produce Dionysus.
Well, keeps it tight.
Jesus. So when listing the 12 Olympians, you will either see, depending on the source, Hestia or Dionysus, not both. And so the modern version of the story is that Hestia gave up her place of godhood on Mount Olympus to give to Dionysus, but the early texts actually don't support that, so it's just one or the other. And dear listener, what I have just mentioned is but a fraction of Zeus's affairs. This is just the kids he produced, not even the affairs that he had.
Oh, this is just the list?
This is the divine offspring, and that's the mortal offspring.
Mortal list is quite long.
Yeah, he fucks. And so he just does a lot of random shit. One time he seduced Hera in the shape of a cuckoo, which we'll talk about.
And then along came Zeus. He hurled his lightning bolt.
The version that we see of Zeus in Hercules is actually like really fucked up that he's so nice. One time he's
looking or just kind?
Just kind.
Okay.
Yeah. And also, yeah, whatever. Persephone, one time he seduced Persephone as a dragon and then also seduced Persephone. They're like all shapeshifters, kind of. He also seduced Persephone as Hades.
Okay.
Whatever. And then he also seduced a woman named Leda as a swan.
Are you talking about Zeus or Hercules right now?
Zeus.
Okay.
Zeus. I'm just in Hercules, the movie, Zeus is portrayed as like this loving father. And it's just like.
I mean, his actions led to Hercules meeting Danny DeVito. So.
Do you want another drink?
Yes.
Okay. And we're back.
We're back.
This next section is probably my favorite section. Actually, that's a lie. I have another section that I like even more, but up to now, this is my favorite section that I call Gods Are Unserious. Mm-hmm. And like they are actually really serious because they're like gods and wrathful, you know, but they do stupid ass shit sometimes. And here is just a list of fun little things that I found that the gods have done. Aphrodite was petty. Especially when it came to those who didn't give her the honor that she felt she deserved.
Bowser
That's
literally
crazy.
never visits us.
Bowser.
You want to come say hi?
He said no. He got nervous.
I do see Casey's face and Bowser's face sometimes. Yeah. Okay, sorry, continue.
You're
We're back.
So Aphrodite was petty, especially when it came to the people who didn't give her the honor that she felt she deserved.
I get it.
Women of a specific town, Lemnos, that didn't acknowledge her, she cursed them so that they smelled so bad that their husbands left them.
Just the women.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah. I think she had a vendetta against them specifically. One day, Apollo and his lover Hyacinth were throwing around a discus, and Apollo, being a god and all, threw it so hard that it split the clouds open, and Hyacinth tried to catch it, this sweet, sweet, stupid idiot, and he missed, and the discus bounced off the ground and hit him in the face and killed him.
I think I remember that story.
Yeah, it's crazy. That happened 3 separate times with 3 different gods.
A discus hits
like
them in their face.
throwing something, and then their lover tries to catch it, and it kills them.
The Greeks were inventing the tragic gay origin story.
I mean, yeah, you like try and impress your dad, throw around a football, and now everyone has a black eye.
I wonder what that's like.
I wouldn't know.
I wouldn't either.
Okay. Poseidon was trying to woo Demeter. And so to impress her, he invented the first horse. But he then
huge for your community.
But then he got so distracted by the horse he forgot about Demeter altogether. Love a horse, girly. Not the god
He's
of the sea.
He's the god of the sea.
What do you mean?
Okay, sorry. On that note, as a child, I had been led to believe seahorses were way bigger than they actually are. By the by.
Yeah, no, that's so real.
Sorry.
Yeah,
just continue.
I'm like disappointed. I was not there. Okay.
Okay, well, if I can be a bitch in a corner for a second.
second.
No, I'm kidding. Continue.
So you know the whole story of Hades and Persephone, right? He like steals her once he sees her beauty, falls in love. In the Orphic Mysteries, which we'll explain later, in the Orphic Mysteries version, when Hades steals Persephone, he opens the earth to steal her, so she falls down into hell, and with her, about 30 pigs that were standing near her at the time.
Which, of course, pisses Zeus off because he was going to have sex with them.
They specifically mentioned the pig herder was like...
What is this? The Denver, what's it? The gin mill? Is that a place in Denver?
Yeah, it is.
The joke was really funny in my head. Okay. I just want you to know that.
Sure.
We're gathered here today to remember the joke Grant just attempted. Continue.
What? Okay.
What is this? The Republican National Convention? Stick to what I know.
Which is not the national anthem. They never hire anyone good to do the national anthem. Okay, this person is not a god that we're going to talk about. This was a real person.
This is not pudding.
This is not pudding. But this was so good I couldn't not write it. There's a poet, an ancient Greek poet that was a few centuries maybe after Hesiod and Homer. Her name is Sappho.
Yeah.
And she wrote poetry about her love of woman and is where we get the term sapphic from. Do you know where she's from?
I do. And can I tell you why?
Yeah.
I have a very good relationship with the student. I just want that to come out now. And they were very proud of their identity and felt very safe because of my identity. And so one day in class, she's kind of mouthing off. And I go, oh, I've been meaning to tell you, I went to the island of Sappho and everyone knew you there.
Well, you messed up.
Okay.
It's the island of Lesbos.
Shit, you're right. Sappho was the poet. The island of Lesbos.
Her name is literally Sappho of Lesbos.
Hyphenated, I'm assuming.
What do you mean? What do you mean?
And her co-op shift starts in a couple hours. Yeah. She has to get out of here.
At the wolf farm.
It's a lot easier now that all of those pigs are gone. Yeah.
The kicker is that, according to some legends, she married a man named Kerkulas of Andros, which roughly translates to Dick Alcock of Big Man Island.
I fall off the chair.
Which is most likely, according to historians...
Dick Man of what island?
Dick Alcock from Big Man Island or Penis Dick Island.
Alcock of Penis Island.
Or Penn Island or something like that.
What is this? The villain of a Captain Underpants book?
A lot of people agree that that's probably a fictionalization from a comic that came afterward, but I still love it. That Sappho of Lesbos married a man known for his large penis.
Alcock Dick Man of Penis Island.
Yeah, something like that.
I was not prepared for this episode to be this funny. I want you to know.
Glad. Okay, now we're going to talk about some of the shenanigans Hephaestus got up to. He is the one that Hera maybe produced by herself entirely. So he actually will marry Aphrodite. Aphrodite will be his wife. Aphrodite and Ares have an affair. And so he finds out, and to exact revenge, he crafts a golden net and hides it by their bed. He's like the god of smithing, right? So he like makes a bunch of shit and whatever. He hides it by their bed. The next time they get freaky, the net catches them and hauls them into the air so that everyone in Mount Olympus can see them, and they're all like pointing and laughing. So, and then...
Why would they be laughing?
I don't know.
Do they all stop their own screwing to point and laugh? Hugh Hefner would be like, even I took Sundays off.
So Apollo and Hermes are standing there watching, and Apollo says to Hermes, would you mind being chained up naked for everyone to see? And Hermes says, not at all, if it means I got to sleep with Aphrodite.
And Apollo's like, I'm no Aphrodite, but I got a lot of chains.
Listen. Okay.
I'm...
One time. So of note.
That's it? That's the entirety of their punishment? Or if you're going to have an affair, I get a watch? What?
I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah. Of note, Helios and Hephaestus are close. And so knowing that Helios will probably tell him anything, One time, Ares and Aphrodite are getting it on, and Ares had his friend, Electron, guard the door in case Helios walked by because they knew Helios would definitely tell Aphrodite's husband. Electron fell asleep, and Helios did walk by and caught them and did tell Hephaestus. Yeah. Ares, pissed, turns his buddy Electron into a rooster, cursed to forever crow at the coming of the sun.
Oh. Oh.
At one point, Hera threw Hephaestus from Mount Olympus, and to get revenge on Hera, he begins planning to build a throne, a golden throne, which will glue Hera to her seat as like revenge. And I don't think it ever happened, and he refused to go back to Mount Olympus. So Dionysus came by and got him so drunk that they could like haul him back because he couldn't resist
Mount
anymore.
Olympus?
Yeah.
Did you ever watch the Will Ferrell blockbuster movie, Talladega Nights?
No, I didn't.
Nights is an N-I-G-T-S.
Yeah, I'm aware.
Okay. Talladega as in like the NASCAR vroom vroom racetrack in the South.
I believe Casey has seen it.
It's so funny.
Yeah.
Will Ferrell's character plays a like new NASCAR driver. So like red-bellied, red-necked, whatever. There's a scene that my siblings and I will still quote. It's related, I promise. Stay with me. Stay with me.
So we're at a Mexican restaurant. I got him.
So they're sitting down for dinner, right? And Will Ferrell's character, named Ricky Bobby, leads prayer, and they all like gather hands, and he goes, "Dear 9-pound, 8-ounce baby Jesus," and like he keeps doing that, and eventually his like father-in-law is like, "Stop praying to baby Jesus. He was a grown man."
Yeah.
And then Cal, Ricky Bobby's best friend, who's also at dinner, is like, "I like to imagine my baby Jesus in like a tuxedo t-shirt because it says like I want to be formal, but I'm here to party." And that's what this entire section has felt like. And I have just been replaying that scene. It ends with one of Ricky Bobby's kids goes, quote, "I threw a bunch of grandpa's war medals off the bridge."
Oh fuck!
It's a foundational text amongst me and my siblings.
I seem to remember you making a reference to that, and maybe you not being able to lead prayer at dinner anymore.
Never given the opportunity. You mentioned how important undocumented immigrants are at one Thanksgiving.
He's gonna pray to 9-pound, 8-ounce baby Jesus.
This is the second worst Thanksgiving to ever happen. The first one.
Yeah. Now we're gonna talk about shit Hera has done. Actually, no, sorry. We're gonna talk about shit Athena has done. Athena has a track record of trying to help people and then failing spectacularly.
Go ahead.
There's a couple different versions of the story. I chose the versions that I thought were the funniest, so there are other versions out there if you read something different. A young boy is about to accidentally see Athena naked. She's like bathing or something. And so she tries to do something to shield his eyes from seeing her naked and instead blinds him.
Sorry. That's not funny.
No.
A small child gets blinded.
That boy would then become the blind prophet Tiresias, who is mentioned.
She doesn't fix it. No. It's literally me trying to open a pack of chips and just go. So sorry to our AirPod listeners whose ears I just yelled in.
I'll cut it down if it's too much.
I blew up a bag of chips with my arms, if you didn't know what I was doing.
Okay, the next one. Athena's supposed to be known as like the best weaver, right? So she gets super sick of this woman whose name is Arachne bragging about how good she was at weaving. And so Athena challenges her to a weaving competition, and Arachne's like, hell yeah, absolutely. And Athena's pissed because the woven product she produces is like flawless. And so in a fit of jealousy, Athena curses her Arachne to feel guilty for what she's done. So guilty, in fact, that Arena tries to take the big jump, kind of off herself, end it all. Panicked, Athena tries to save her and accidentally turns her into a spider. She can weave forever now.
I've only heard 2 stories that feature a character named Arachne, and it never turns out well for them.
Never goes well for Arachne. Okay, now Hera. Hera, for fun, every year...
Zeus's wife,
Zeus's primary wife.
We've just had so many names, primary wife.
Hera, every year, just for funsies, would go to a specific place to restore her own virginity for, no good reason.
It is giving Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, is what I'm kind of starting to unpack a little bit. But Hera is now a born-again virgin. So
every
that's
year
good to
a
know.
born-again virgin.
Absolutely.
Yep.
My annual trip to Canada.
You wish. One time, Hera's notoriously an incredibly jealous lover, especially, absolutely go off because Zeus is cheating on her constantly and having all of these bastards essentially with random other gods and titans and mortal women, and she's like, fuck you. So one time she gets so angry at Zeus for whatever reason that she leaves Mount Olympus. And Zeus can't persuade her to come back, and so he asks for help. And the advice he has given is to make a wooden doll, dress it up in a bridal veil, and tell everyone he is marrying it to get her to come back in a jealous rage.
Horrifying. Let's see how it plays out.
I don't know if he did or not. Hera, fun fact, actually never meant to marry Zeus. He kept trying to woo her, and so eventually she got tired of it and says, okay, I'll make you a deal. If you can get me to say I love you, I'll marry you. And so Zeus is like, fucking deal. And then he kind of disappears and she doesn't see him for a while. And then a cuckoo bird appears on her windowsill in a freak storm. Remember, Zeus is the god of the sky.
Right.
Okay. Hera takes pity on the bird and brings it in and dries it off and feeds it. And the cuckoo bird is super grateful and starts acting really sweet to Hera and chirping. And so Hera says, oh, I love you too. And then the cuckoo turns into Zeus wearing a massive grin on his face, a shitting grin. Side note, this I learned today. Cuckoos, do you know about cuckoo birds and how fucking crazy they are? Cuckoo birds will lay eggs and then they won't take care of them. They'll leave them in other birds' nests. Right? Cuckoo birds is where we get the term cuckold from.
See, I thought you were going to be cuckoo birds is where we get the word cuckoo from, meaning haha, you're so crazy right now. Cuckold. Well. Okay.
So anyway, Zeus and Hera get married.
No, real quick. This is something you'll see on TikTok, but it's hey girl, you're literally the first you're the first woman in your entire bloodline to be able to just have your own credit card and your own space and go out with your girls, whatever. Literally from Hera until right now in your late 20s / early 30s. No one's been allowed to do that in your bloodline, and you can now carry some credit card debt month to month. Financially terrible, but live life,
Live. I have the rest of my life to have healthy relationships.
I think I'm supposed to be self-destructive right now. I'm literally a year into high school. I think I know what I want. He said as a 32-year-old man.
Listener, side eye. Okay. This fact just horrified me. Hera and Zeus's wedding night lasted 300 years.
I'm not even going to say anything.
I also can't say anything about that.
Is that the Greek Dark Ages? Okay, so I had one thing to say.
Shut the fuck up. Okay.
I really hope they went to a Mexican restaurant afterwards.
Slowly removing the chips and dip farther from Zeus.
So, what's your middle name?
Okay. We're getting into the character I wanted to deep dive into.
That was all preamble?
No.
Oh,
we're in the last half for sure.
I was like, you have built a world.
No. No. This is the character I really wanted to deep dive. This is a part I think you're going to love.
I've loved every second of it so far.
The character I really wanted to deep dive into is Dionysus.
Oh, hell yeah. I was hoping you were going to say that.
Yeah, of course it's Dionysus.
Thank you.
So if you've listened to some of our episodes from the recent months, Grant's Book of the Summer was Hymn to Dionysus by Natasha Pulley. So read it, I guess. And in talking about it, I learned that Grant knows next to nothing about Greek mythology because he didn't read Percy Jackson and go down a little rabbit hole in elementary school.
I had a reading disability until high school. I was literally reading it being like, oh my God.
Looking around,
I had
hoping
no
no one
idea.
noticed.
Who else saw this coming? Oh my God. It's literally a retelling. Retelling.
Literally a retelling. Okay. First of all, about Dionysus. If you've read the Iliad or the Odyssey, Dionysus is not really mentioned. He's mentioned in like maybe a couple lines, but he's not a major character. It's not really obvious he's part of the Olympians or on Mount Olympus. There's a mention in the Iliad of a king who persecutes Dionysus and his followers. And in Hesiod's work, it's the same. He's briefly mentioned, but never a major character. And so remember, he is a major character, at least now. He is considered to be an Olympian, one of the 12 major gods, but it's not really clear why he feels like such a side character. And it's also weird because the Hellenistic version of him, the version that we know today, not the version that's in Hymn to Dionysus necessarily. The version that we know today is pretty close to the Romans version of him, which is named Bacchus. And he's known for just being a cool, fun guy that's like kind of perpetually drunk forever.
Yeah, I get it.
And so it's like, it's kind of strange comparing him to the other Olympians who are like god of sky and ocean and wisdom. And then just this guy who's like kind of drunk.
God, I want to have a beer with.
Yeah. Like, it's like, okay. And so historians are like, I want to know why he's part of the Olympians. And why he kind of didn't make an impact until after the original texts were like well established, so well after Homer and Hesiod. So the first theory about why Dionysus is not kind of in the first texts is that maybe he is what they would call an import god. He's like imported from another culture or something like that like people started moving into cities and then they imported this tradition or this cultural aspect. A lot of myths have him coming to Greece from somewhere else or like traveling around before coming back to Greece, which would make sense with the import god theory. However, there's a second theory after more history is revealed. And to understand that, we need to kind of refresh on Greek history. So remember, Homer and Hesiod are active at the beginning of the Archaic period. Before the Archaic period is the Dark Ages, where we don't have any writing. And before the Dark Ages is the Mycenaean period, where we do have writing in Linear B. Linear B is used in Mycenaean Greece, and it's not until 1950 where we decipher Linear B and we see lists of the gods, and Dionysus is there.
Okay.
So he's been there in like well before the Dark Ages into the Mycenaean ages. And so it's also, as they do more research, it's possible he was there before even that,
all of this stuff happened.
Before any of that.
Okay.
And so why is Dionysus not mentioned in these earlier texts? The only two gods not serving as major characters in some of these early texts are Hestia and Dionysus. So the other gods in the Pantheon came out of the Dark Ages, like kind of solidly set into their Hellenistic personifications. Like they were maybe different in the Mycenaean era, and then something happened in those like 200, 300 years, and then boom, they're in their Hellenistic versions. That did not happen for Dionysus because he's not in those early texts. So the second theory is that because we now know he was there originally, the theory is that the worship of Dionysus was suppressed for hundreds of years for whatever reason. Remember, the Hellenistic interpretation is not really the one presented in the Hymn to Dionysus. The version of Dionysus presented in that book is kind of in between the version presented in what we think is the Mycenaean version and the Hellenistic version.
Right, which is interesting because the book does paint a picture of Dionysus as being a much older god than like the society that he's walking around in.
So he gets younger as time goes on. As we get closer to Bacchus, he becomes younger in how they show
from
him.
like elder statesman to like young playboy.
Yeah. The primary traits of the Hellenistic version are that he's drunk, he likes to party some more and drink some more and party some more and drink some more. Club, another club, bus, another club.
Which is different than his dad, Zeus, or or granddad Zeus, or however he's related to Zeus.
Great-great-grandfather and also father. So how does Dionysus get accepted as an Olympian? The answer is most likely that the Hellenistic interpretation of Dionysus had to be toned down from the version that came out of the Dark Ages, right? And so the version that came out of the Dark Ages had to then be more powerful, so it made sense to make him an Olympian and kind of match him with like god of the sea, god of the sky. So what else was he kind of in charge of that made him become an Olympian? And then he got toned down to kind of just be this god of partying, and he's left as part of the pantheon. Remember, Mycenaean Greeks tended to favor chthonic gods, gods that had connections to the underworld.
Okay.
And what the Hellenistic version of Dionysus doesn't have is a connection to the underworld. But as you saw in Hymn to Dionysus, and if you haven't read it, he is one of the few gods that is able to go into the underworld and come back out.
Right.
Like unscathed. He's able to like revive people,
And go
essentially.
grab you.
Yeah. He has this theme of death and rebirth. And so he was probably more highly prioritized in Mycenaean Greek.
Because of that connection
to the underworld, which gives him more power coming out of the Dark Ages since he hadn't transitioned into this new Hellenistic version. So let's talk about Dionysus's origin story, shall we? So the one I told you earlier is that he is the child of Zeus and a mortal woman named Semele. But there's another version where he may have been born to Persephone. Version 1, Hera finds out that Semele is sleeping with Zeus. And Hera is just perpetually jealous and vengeful, a little bit. Fair. So she goes to Semele and is like, but all men now are saying that they're gods. Like, how do you know that this one is a god? You should ask him next time you see him to show you his divine form. And so Semele's like, you're so right, girl. Thank you so much. I don't think she knows that it's Hera. But when she sees Zeus the next time, she is already pregnant with Dionysus at this point. When she sees him, she's like, hey, show me your divine form. And Zeus is like, absolutely, babe. And so he does. But being a god and all, it kind of like zaps her and fries her and kills her.
Oh.
And what's left is Dionysus. So she fully dies.
What version of this is the story again?
This is just one of the versions of how Dionysus came to be.
I wasn't planning on someone just stripping away someone else like an avocado and like the center is Dionysus.
Just burned her alive, basically.
And then it's like, I'm Dionysus.
No, he's still an unborn baby. He's a fetus.
Okay.
And so Zeus takes him and sews him into his thigh until Dionysus is ready to be born. And then Dionysus emerges from Zeus's thigh.
Surrogacy. Powerful stuff, man.
I was like, that's full seahorse shit. Version 2 is that Persephone and Zeus had an affair, and Persephone gave birth to Zagreus. Zagreus is born as a snake. I don't have more information on that.
Sorry.
Yeah. Hera finds out about this affair. Okay. And so Hera convinces the Titans to eat Zagreus, to like kill him.
Because they love eating babies.
They do. Yeah. And so Hera is like, hey, eat this one. And so they do, and all they leave is Zagreus's heart. So Hera then gives...
That's the most tender part. I don't understand.
Yeah. Hera gives the heart of Zagreus to Athena. Athena turns it into a drink, which is then given to Semele to help her be like fertile or whatever for Zeus. And so Dionysus then forms around the heart of Zagreus.
Okay, so there was this person who was stripped for meat by his uncle prisoner Titans.
Yes.
They leave just the most important bit.
Yeah.
And they're like, this plus a Pinot Noir will make you into a real boy.
Quite literally, Pinot Noir.
I mean, I don't know what other kind of wine there is.
So many others, but that was such a funny reference. Okay. The common conclusion, regardless of how Dionysus is formed, is that he couldn't be raised in Olympus because Hera's vengeful, and she has a right to be, quite honestly. But the fear is that Hera will kill Dionysus if he is raised on Mount Olympus. And so Zeus sends him to be raised by someone else, depending on what...
Herald is light and bold. That's such a theme.
And it's just his offspring. Like everyone is related to Zeus. I don't know what to tell you. So Zeus sends him to be raised by someone else. Depending on the retelling or the story, that person changes based on the story. So that person could be Hermes, it could be Rhea, it could be Persephone, and it could be mortal royalty. The mortal royalty story specifically has Dionysus cross-dress as a girl to help keep him hidden from the gods. And most of the descriptions of Dionysus are really androgynous. And there's a lot of cross-dressing that's actually related to rituals that will happen, like celebrating Dionysus in ancient Greece. And so this cross-dressing theme is something that we'll see throughout. So regardless, he is also one of the only gods that spends a majority of his time in the mortal world, like with humans. Whereas most of the other Olympians will spend their time on Mount Olympus. In Dionysus's early life, he figures out how to make wine. And he's like, I'm going to share this with the people. But before he can, Hera's like, no, you don't, and makes him go crazy for a while. And so he wanders.
Only for a while, though.
I don't know how long.
Okay.
It's a while, but he wanders around, and then eventually Rhea, one of the original primordial titans, has to kind of like fix him, and then he snaps back.
But the boy who was blinded for no fault of his own will now learn to live.
He becomes a prophet. It's part of his destiny.
Again, like all of my reading, limited as it may be in this kind of area, is like, hey, I know if I'm living in this world, I don't want to be blessed with a special gift.
Nope.
I want to go to bed at night, wake up in the morning, not a single thought in between. The last thing I want is visions.
Yeah. Abso-fucking-lutely. So Rhea fixes his little brain, and then he's like, oh, fuck, I was going to share wine with the people. And he goes and shares wine with the people.
I'm rapidly entering this stage of my like season, as always is, where I just have to constantly shout reminders to my iPhone for like, and it's like, remind me 7:10 a.m. tomorrow morning, bring lunch. It's like,
yes.
It's like foundational things to my existence.
Yes. Okay, so now this is a quote from Overly Sarcastic Productions from YouTube.
Beautiful.
So now we've established some canon for Dionysus. Forget all of that, because there is no canon. There is only an endless deep well of mysteries and fragmented mythology, and Dionysus is much older and weirder than he seems.
I think I'm going to make that into a bio on a dating profile. Can you hit me with that again?
So now that we've established some canon for Dionysus,
okay,
forget all of that.
Start
because
here.
There is no canon.
Nope.
There's only an endlessly deep well of mysteries and fragmented mythology, and Dionysus is much older and weirder than he may seem.
There is only a fragmented soup of mysteries and obscurities, and I'm much older and weirder than I may seem. Some version of that.
Yeah, no, I like it.
I'll workshop it.
Yeah.
Could you imagine?
Yes, I actually can. I absolutely can.
You must be spontaneous and don't take yourself too seriously. Next picture, I'm holding a fish. Sorry, go ahead.
Women want me, fish fear me.
Anyways, you watching the big game this Saturday?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. What do you mean? You just yelled at me.
What does that mean? What does this guy mean? What does that mean by that?
You just yelled at me for how I pronounce blindly.
No, I just asked. And before you step off the stage, I want to remind you, aren't we glad for the feedback? We are glad for the feedback. Clap him off the stage.
So anyway, let's remind you of the Hellenized version of Dionysus, right? The Hellenized version of Dionysus is the god of wine. He's known for being a drunk party guy. He's a child of Semele and Zeus. He is notably young for the gods, and he is pretty androgynous in appearance. And he won't really appear in texts until the 300s. So most Hellenized versions appeared in the 800s and 700s. He didn't appear until the 300s. So something happened there. So let's talk about what we know about the Mycenaean version of Dionysus.
Okay.
There's not a lot, but what we do know is that there's a theme of death and rebirth, a potential connection to Zagreus, who would have been a child of Persephone and Zeus, or Persephone and Hades, or whatever. The Mycenaean Dionysus is still a son of Zeus, but it's unclear who the mother is. He is abandoned young and raised by nature. He has a wine cult, and he has horns as part of his true form, and he is a lot older than the Hellenized version.
Like in a cute way?
In the Mycenaean version, he has like a full beard.
So he's terrifying.
He's not terrifying, but he is just older.
He's a fully bearded, older, horned man.
I think the horns are cute.
Okay.
You could hold on to those horns.
OG question was in a cute way, and you said he has a horrible and disgusting beard.
He just has a full beard. Like, it's not terrifying. Okay. So let's talk about the thing that I said about the wine cult, because that's fascinating to me. So it seems that in the Mycenaean period, Dionysus was heavily related to a wine cult. Unfortunately, that wine cult is a bit of a mystery because it was a mystery cult. And there's evidence that it existed in Mycenaean Greece, but also a lot of evidence that it existed before Mycenaean Greece.
When you say a wine cult, do you mean, and there's be two options here, like a social club that gets together and like appreciates wine, or like a fringe religious sect that gets really drunk on wine and then ...
More the second.
Definitely felt that way.
I do believe, I didn't do a ton of research into this. I think wine around this time was a lot stronger than it is today.
Vino veris.
There may have been some hallucinogenic aspects of it.
So it was dirtier too.
Yeah, a little bit. So yeah, the original wine cult is definitely more focused on the wine than Dionysus, but Dionysus is still like an aspect. So what?
Me at my first communion. Yeah. This is real, right?
Can I actually have a second? I'm really feeling real like I need it.
I get it. It's the blood of Christ, but it's also a red you bought at N Street Liquors, right?
Be honest. Okay.
He's watching.
So funny.
Threatening a priest during communion.
Yeah, at your confirmation.
I've cheeked my slice of body in the corner of my mouth. Be like, gotta tell me the truth. Is this real? I'm confirmed I'm allowed to say it.
I am too. Oh my God.
Look at us.
Wow. We're
surviving our Lutheran upbringings.
Yeah. Okay. To be clear, the wine cult is definitely worshiping wine. They're not necessarily worshiping the wine. They're more worshiping the effect wine has on the people. And so there is the potential that this cult is actually as old as wine itself.
Sure.
Which would place it as at originating around 6000 BCE, which is old as shit.
In many ways, this feels exactly like a music festival.
Yeah,
I'm not praising the wine. I'm just praising what happens.
The effect it has on
after I have wine.
The little brain here.
And we had a wonderful time.
And we had some experiences, and it's all fun and good, and it's all fun and good. Okay, so if that's the case, if that cult originated at like where wine was founded, one of the locations wine was first made was in the Zagros Mountains. And you might be thinking Zagros sounds a lot like Zagreus. Unfortunately, linguistically, they're not related. But the Zagros Mountains is one of the places wine was founded.
Where are the Zagreus Mountains?
Oh, God. It's east of Egypt, because the wine cult would have traveled through the trade routes.
Is it Southwest Asia? We culturally know it as the Middle East.
Yeah. I'm not sure.
Zagreus Mountains. It is in basically along the border between modern day states of Iran and Iraq.
Hell yeah. Okay. So that's one of the original places. They think that that is probably where the wine started that eventually went into archaic Greece. And so the wine cult theoretically would have started in the Zagros Mountains, traveled to Egypt, up to Minoan Crete, and then up to Mycenaean Greece, where Dionysus would have likely been introduced into the wine cult at that point. This is all educated speculation on the part of historians, just to be perfectly clear. Obviously, this is so far in the past that there's not a ton of reliable written history. So, Mycenaean Greece happens. Now we're in the Dark Ages and there's no real written history. By the end of the Dark Ages, we see this cult of Dionysus becoming more focused on Dionysus instead of just the wine. So it is now coming out of the Dark Ages, the cult of Dionysus.
Okay.
And this is about the time that the other gods are Hellenized and modernly accepted. This cult, the cult of Dionysus, is focused on something called the Dionysian Mysteries. The Dionysian Mysteries refer to a ritual focused on getting like really fucking high and like hallucinating. And I think is the wine, but that wasn't super clear to me.
Okay. And then what, though?
So getting intoxicated to the people in this cult was a religious experience. Getting intoxicated to them was allowing the spirit of Dionysus in to like possess them and to like physically be closer to the god that they were worshiping.
This feels like rife for accountability issues, but that's okay.
Oh yeah, 100%. And it also potentially allowed them to tap into his divine power, Dionysus's.
Okay.
The creation of wine was,
At our core DNA level, we're all just 21-year-old college students jumping off roofs into pools is kind of what it feels like a little bit, is what you're telling me.
Well, no, they made me, Mom. You don't understand.
What was I gonna do? Be a loser? No. It's
No.
like the momentum just carried me up
Just
there.
because I broke my leg doesn't mean you have to ask me if Chad jumped off a bridge, would I? Because obviously I did.
And also because I did it first, Chad didn't jump.
Yeah, obviously.
And crazy how quickly the spirit of Dionysus leaves your body when someone needs to go to the hospital.
The spirit of Dionysus leaves.
I feel this. I feel
Spirit of Dionysus in this Chili's.
and they're moving the chips away from me.
Don't you dare call Chili's a Mexican restaurant.
We're so deep into our own deep cuts right now.
The thing is, they're all deep cuts from this episode, though, which is crazy. That never happens.
The spirit of Dionysus in this Chili's, and they're moving the chips and salsa away from me. That's going to mean something to someone one day.
Yeah, that's like poetic. Oh my God. Okay.
You and I at 18 losing our religion. Sorry, I'm done. And I'm done.
The chips moving farther away from us, and we're like, that's it.
I was on defense the whole time.
Okay.
Oh, God.
So the cult of Dionysus feels getting intoxicated brings them closer to Dionysus. They also feel that the creation of wine is seen to mirror Dionysus's death and rebirth theme, because the grapes die and are reborn as wine. During these rituals, sometimes a lot of dismemberment happened, usually of sacrificial animals.
What? Okay. Whoa,
I think it's mainly sacrificial animals, usually bulls, because that is one of the representations of Dionysus.
Mainly is such a crazy word to use there.
That's what I said. What, the bullet literally says mostly happened to bulls. ... Mostly italicized.
Jesus Christ.
This happens so often, there's a term for it called sparagmos. So that's what it's called. Some sources said there's also some like orgy type sexual activity that would happen at some of these rituals. To me, it sounds like there's a spectrum of rituals that some people are violent and some people just want to get high, and sometimes maybe both. So, this cult would celebrate what we now would refer to as the Orphic version of Dionysus. So there's the Mycenaean version of Dionysus, which we know very little about. There's the Hellenistic version of Dionysus, which everyone knows as Dionysus today. This is the Orphic version. The Orphic version of Dionysus is most likely what was represented in Hymn to Dionysus, the book that you read. And this is also most likely the version of Dionysus that was most heavily celebrated coming out of the Dark Ages before he became Hellenized, and that this cult was around. The term Orphic refers to a religion called Orphism, which was a 6th century Hellenistic mystery religion of which Dionysus was the primary focus of. Orphism focused on gods or figures who are able to enter the underworld and leave, like Orpheus of the legend of Orpheus and Eurydice, hence Orphism. And so mystery religion refers to various secret cults in the Greco-Roman era which would offer religious rituals not offered by the official publicly accepted religions, hence the name Dionysian Mysteries. Dionysian Mysteries, from what I could gather, is like the first written version of these mystery religions, and there's some that would follow. So this Orphic version of Dionysus is a lot more focused on death and rebirth. And this version is a child of Persephone and Zeus and is much more focused on the madness part of the character because he's the god of wine and madness. And so this version focuses on the madness. And he tends to die young and then be reborn. And again, like the Mycenaean version, he was one of the few gods that can enter and exit the underworld and revive people with him.
Okay.
The Dionysus cult attracted a lot of marginalized groups, which... yeah.
It's just funny because you think of these ancient histories, like them being all like not monotheistic, but homogenous. Like you just kind of imagine it's like, how can there be
marginalized groups?
There's 10,000 of you. How can there be marginalized groups between you all?
Yeah.
If anyone is from a different community or culture, they had to walk here. Like, how is that? You know, it's but no, obviously there was. Because humans are at their soul evil.
Yes. Yeah. So women, slaves, and non-citizens were really attracted to this Dionysus cult. And in parentheses, I said, wow, we really are here just but for a moment.
Thank you for that. Yes.
It's the same shit over and over and over again. Okay, so since the cult, they attracted these marginalized groups because the cult allowed them to escape social norms, which ostracized them. And obviously, this cult was not popular with the people who made the social norms, which ostracized the marginalized communities.
Right.
And so there's attempts to outlaw the cult. Obviously, those don't work. And so what they do instead is try and control it a bit, which would eventually tame down Dionysus's character and eventually lead to him being Hellenized into the version that we know today.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you either die trying or live long enough to see yourself become like the villain.
Isn't that fucking crazy?
That's fantastic.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I had a lot of crazy revelations last night. So this next section is called Getting Hellenized.
Did you get a little wine drunk? Is that what happened?
No, I drank a couple beers, but I was mostly just reading crazy shit on the internet.
This doesn't sound different than any other night for you, but I do.
And you're right. And I'm glad I started a podcast. Otherwise, I'd be in Dionysus' cult right now.
We'd be at a beer garden instead, and you'd be telling us about this and be like, wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, it would have gotten us 1 point in trivia. Okay, one of the first times Dionysus was really kind of brought into the public spotlight after Homer and Hesiod is around 500 BCE, and it's thanks to a famous tyrant named Pisistratus when he brought the Dionysia to Athens. The Dionysia was previously primarily a rural celebration honoring Dionysus and the cultivation of wine, but Pisistratus brought it to Athens, and at this point it's known as the city Dionysia. Unfortunately, what he did at the beginning did not really bring a lot of people into liking Dionysus because he emphasized the importance of honoring the Dionysia by threatening people in Athens by telling them all the horrifying things Dionysus would do to them if the Athenians rejected him.
Okay.
Specifically to their genitals, which is a whole other thing. But
don't make me make another nope. Poseidon. No, it's not. It's Aphrodite.
Yeah, another Aphrodite. Yeah. Do it.
Listen, my brain was like, not that god. Hold on 1 second. I know it's in here.
I saw it happen.
Is this your card?
Crazy. Okay. Scare tactics also rarely work, but it does showcase exactly which version of Dionysus was relevant at this point in time. So the Dionysia comes to Athens, and it slowly evolves to include a competition of performances and plays. And this part of the Dionysia would eventually produce the field of Greek theater. Like, if you Google the origins of Greek theater, it is the Dionysia.
Okay.
Which is crazy to me. So actually, some historians think that transformation started earlier, also a part of the Dionysia, but as early as 600 BCE, when there's dithyramb, which were choral songs. It was a performance of choral songs meant to praise Dionysus. And at some point, one member of the chorus would leave the group and start acting out the events that they're talking about in the song. And that eventually turns into Greek theater. But it all really started at the city Dionysia. So to compete, playwrights would submit 4 plays, essentially, a 4-part play, which had 3 linked tragedies and 1 satire play. The satire is a quote-unquote joking tragedy. It's somewhere between a comedy and a tragedy, and it features a chorus of satyr, which are nature spirits.
Satyr, or are we supposed to pronounce it satire?
It's satyr.
Okay.
It will become satire.
Okay, I was just like, okay.
It's pronounced satyr or satyr or something.
Okay.
It's satyr. Satyr are actually like a mythological creature. They're top half men, bottom half animal, or like men, and then they have like the ears of an animal and the tail of an animal or something like that. The best example I can think of is that character from Narnia that Lucy meets, like when she first comes in. I can't remember his name.
Yeah, or the character that Danny DeVito plays in Hercules.
Yep, that one. Yep, that's a satyr. That one. So the chorus is made up of that creature. So of the playwrights that entered, again, they submit their 4 plays. A few would be selected to compete at the Dionysia, at the city Dionysia. And if they're selected, they then get like assigned like a choreographer and like this whole production team, and they get to like put on the whole production of all 4 of their plays. And then at the city Dionysia, tens of thousands, I think once I said 14,000 people gather to watch the different plays. And then 10 random audience members are chosen to pick the winner.
You're watching X Factor.
Yeah, literally. And so the winner would then receive an ivy wreath and some sacrificial animals and a large banquet in their honor. Next up on the story to Hellenization. So that is when the Dionysia come to Athens. That is 500 BCE. Now we're at 400 BCE at another Dionysia festival. Euripides puts on the Bacchae, which is first performed around 400 BCE. I think it was like 409 BCE at a Dionysia festival. As a reminder, that's like about a century after the Dionysia first come to Athens.
Right.
And so since Dionysus is kind of the center of the Dionysia at first, people are a little bit tired of plays about him by the time the 400s come around. Yeah. And so this play, the Bacchae, is one of the first plays to feature Dionysus in quite a while.
Okay.
The Bacchae, that term, is referring to the chorus of the play. It's specifically the term that is used to describe those who have been possessed by Dionysus and are like kind of maddened by the effect of Dionysus. Bacchos is the masculine and Bacch being the feminine. The plural of Bacch is Bacchae, Bacchai. And then when that becomes Latinized, it is Bacchae. And that's the name of the play. This version of Dionysus is about halfway between the Orphic and the Hellenistic versions. It's generally accepted by this point that Dionysus is absolutely an Olympian. That's generally commonly accepted.
Okay.
But he is still kind of crazier than the Hellenistic version.
Okay.
So we're going to talk about the plot of the Bacchae.
Okay. And this is of that play that gets submitted in 400 BCE.
Yes, in 400 BCE. And I believe it becomes, we'll talk about like why it's performed. There's a very specific reason, but I believe it is performed at that Dionysia. So in the prologue, we learn the origin of Dionysus. In Thebes, his mother, Semele, is a royal from the house of Cadmus. She has an affair with Zeus and gets pregnant. Hera tricks her.
Again.
Yeah. So Hera, again, tricks her to ask Zeus to prove his divinity. She gets, like, burned alive. Zeus stitches Dionysus into his thigh. Dionysus is then born. Semele's family believes Semele died because Zeus struck her down as punishment for lying about the affair. They think she had an affair with a mortal, and she then lied and said it was with Zeus to kind of make it okay-ish to them. And so they assume she lied and that Zeus struck her down for it. And so her name is now like maligned in society.
Okay.
And they also assume Dionysus died with her. Dionysus then returns to Thebes years later, disguised as a priest for himself. And he's accompanied by a group of Bacchae who are from Lydia. So they're Lydian women. At the time of his return, Cadmus has passed Thebes onto his grandson, Pentheus. Mm-hmm. Pentheus is Dionysus's cousin. Pentheus is the son of Semele's sister, Agave. Mm-hmm. The reason for Dionysus's return is he wants to punish the family for their treatment of his mom, Semele, and also to punish them for their refusal to offer him sacrifices and to give him the reverence he thinks he deserves.
I am loving every word you say right now. This lines up a lot with the book, The Hymn to Dionysus.
That's
is
why
the part.
I went into it.
Thank you.
Yeah. Because the city of Thebes has not allowed the worship of Dionysus, Pentheus specifically has deemed it an evil that has to end. So when Dionysus arrives, his first act is to drive all of the women of Thebes, including Agave and her other sisters, Autono and Ino, mad. And they then go out into the forest outside of the city of Thebes to Mount Cithaeron to worship him and provide Dionysus's rites. Cadmus and Tiresias, the blind prophet that Athena blinded,
right,
who are in Thebes. I think at this point, Pentheus is outside of the city traveling.
That's why that name sounded so familiar. I was like, crazy
Tiresias.
how...
He's also in the Odyssey.
Right. I'm like, crazy how many blind prophets there are. And it's one guy.
It's just one guy
He
who's just fucking everywhere.
Around.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Cadmus
They're
and
like, do we need some narration here to kind of bridge a gap? Go ahead and throw in that blind guy.
Yeah. Go ahead and throw in that blind guy. So Cadmus and Tiresias are, I think, kind of watching over the city. I think Pentheus is out of town. And they want to pay tribute to Dionysus. And one source put it as like, if we can't beat him, might as well join him kind of way. And so they dress up in like Dionysus specific garb. But Pentheus returns and he scorns them for trying to give Dionysus the reverence that they were going to give him. And he scorns Dionysus and he personally vows to imprison and behead Dionysus.
Good. Always easy to do that to a god.
Obviously, yeah. Cadmus warns against disobeying a god and says that Pentheus is now risking tragedy coming on to the family. Pentheus is like, fuck you, I'm still going to do it. But he is disturbed by the Lydian women as well as the Theban women that are now out in the forest on the mountain doing whatever
do what
it is
I want,
that they're doing.
That's a big problem I got to solve too.
That's fucking weird, right?
Wild that's happening.
Yeah. So he views what they're doing as a way to escape the legal code of Thebes. And so he thinks that they're not actually doing it to serve Dionysus. He thinks that they're doing it to spite him, kind of.
All of the women just in their group chat together.
Yeah, hating
Girls
on me.
and Oceana.
Yeah. And Dionysus, who honestly might be a woman, I'm not sure.
Right, 100%.
Yeah.
I mean, he certainly trusts and believes women, so that's the important thing.
Clearly. And so he orders as many of them to be as arrested as possible, and that includes Dionysus.
The women in the forest need to be arrested?
Some of them, I think the worship leaders are like the leaders of the group.
Sure,
yeah, because
okay,
there's
great.
still people that are out in the forest after they arrest them. So Dionysus conveniently allows himself to be arrested, still disguised as a priest. Pentheus quickly realizes he has more on his hands than an androgynous stranger because he tries 3 separate times to kill this guy or torture him in different ways, and Dionysus always finds a way to like evade it or escape it, but he's still like kind of around, like he's still in captivity.
Right.
He's just not being murdered or tortured. So at some point, Dionysus actually causes an earthquake that causes the entire palace to collapse. Pentheus like manages to escape the palace and then is surprised when he escapes the rubble, and then Dionysus is standing right in front of him and he's like, literally, what the fuck, you are right behind me.
Right.
Dionysus tries to persuade Pentheus to abandon this destructive path. Obviously, Pentheus says fuck no. And then a cow herder comes in to tell Pentheus about these women in the forest that are doing what they're doing to serve Dionysus. Obviously, these women now include Pentheus's mom and aunts.
Right.
The cowherder says that the women were peaceful in the forest. They were playing music and feasting on milk and honey. And the herder wants to help Pentheus in that moment, and he wants to bring Agave back to Pentheus. So he tries to like approach and kind of get Agave away from them. As soon as the women see him and the cows, they go into like a murderous rage and they chase him. And so the cowherder barely escapes with his life. The cattle are torn apart by the bare hands of the women.
Okay.
So that's fun.
Still stuff that I saw coming to some degree, and I'm still shocked by.
Yes, exactly. Pentheus is like, that's fucking weird. And he's like kind of intrigued by it.
They're women. They're not supposed to be that strong.
So Pentheus is like intrigued and like confused and disturbed and Dionysus sees an opportunity. And Dionysus, still dressed as a priest to Dionysus, is like...
It's a play within a play.
Yeah. Dionysus, he's like, I know how I can let you see what these women are like up to without them like seeing you or risking your life. If you want to follow, like, I'm willing to show you that if you're willing.
Right.
And Pentheus is like, yes, absolutely. And Dionysus is like, okay, the only way you're going to be able to see them is if you dress as a woman because they don't like men. And so Pentheus dresses as a woman, and apparently there's like this whole like montage of him being like so narcissistic and like checking his hair and like checking all of his clothes.
Every woman.
Yeah. Once in the woods, Dionysus helps Pentheus climb a tree. And so he gets to the top of the tree. And unfortunately, Pentheus climbed the tree because he couldn't see the woman from the ground. So he climbs the tree, he can see the woman. Unfortunately, now the woman can see him. And Dionysus is like, kill that man.
It's a man!
Get him! So Dionysus...
Be gay, do crime. Commit a homicide.
Commit a homicide.
Charge phone.
Charge phone. That's so important. Dress as woman. Yeah.
Charge phone. That's so important. Can't keep canceling that again.
I can't keep canceling that. Cause an earthquake just for fun.
So what happens to our boy girl Pentheus here in this situation?
Ooh, it's not good.
So the book stayed accurate.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Dionysus calls for the women. The women are now led by Agave, Pentheus's mother, who does not recognize Pentheus because she's in a kind of a mad phase.
Fugue state.
A fugue state, yeah. And so she attacks her son. Together, Pentheus is like trying to get his mom to recognize him. Obviously, it's not working. Oh. And the women tear him apart limb from limb and kill him.
Nice.
Agave brings the head of her son back to the palace. She thinks she's killed a mountain lion and she's showing it off. And it takes Cadmus, like her father, like telling her to like look at the sky. He's able to bring her back to reality and see that she has now killed her own son, which sends her into a kind of a sadness, I guess. And Dionysus punishes them by like destroying that royal family, by banishing them from the city of Thebes.
What did Agave do? Oh, because the entire royal family murdered his mom.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So inventive, the Greeks, when it comes to their revenge. So inventive.
Dionysus's favorite way of punishing his enemies was driving them mad or having them dismembered. So what I thought was
so important. You can't forget that.
Or. So this is the Bacchae. That's the story of it. The author of the Bacchae.
I mean, 10 out of 10 play. I mean, put it right now on the silver screen. That's an Oscar winner, baby.
I mean, you read the book and you loved it.
I really.
The book is very different
really
from that.
did.
There's a lot of nuance and like stuff added that if you
some
like
cool
still
world
read
building.
it, read it for sure.
So worth it.
Dionysus is a very different character. He's a lot more relatable than this Dionysus, in my opinion.
Oh, then Stone Cold Steve Austin, serial killer Dionysus.
Serial killer Dionysus. So the author of this tragedy, the Bacchae, is Euripides. He is one of 3 playwrights that the city of Athens legislates as the only canonical tragedians. The only 3 playwrights that can write tragedies that will be accepted into the official repertoire of the Athenian State Theater. And so these are the only canonical tragedies from the state of Athens ever, like canonically. The Bacchae is the last play produced by Euripides, who is the last canonical tragedian to survive. And so it's the last tragedy ever written, technically, by Athens. This last play brings Dionysus back to the Dionysia as the last play when he was like the first in it.
I love that.
Which I think is very
that whole
poetic.
Moment. Absolutely.
Yeah. So we've now seen the Mycenaean Dionysus, went through the Dark Age, came out with Orphic Dionysus. This Bacchae presents like a middle ground Dionysus between Orphic and Hellenistic. So now how do we get to the Hellenistic version of Dionysus from this Bacchae version? 300 BCE, Alexander the Great does that thing where he conquers a fuck ton of the world.
100%.
Right?
Or at least the world that he knew about. Yes.
Yes, exactly. And this paved the way for centuries of luxury for the ruling class, for the kings that would rule. And this ruling class really valued 2 things: power and parties.
Mm-hmm.
And you know who really represents power and parties? Our boy Dionysus. And so he really exploded in popularity, specifically around the time of Alexander the Great, because he's portrayed in the Hellenistic version as fun, drunk, and the party guy. And it like allowed this ruling class to feel like they were still being like a member of like the cultural society by partying and ruling. Right. The cult of Dionysus, which had previously been rejected by the ruling class, is now being embraced by the ruling class. And now Dionysus is more commonly known as the Roman term of Bacchus. And that, dear listener, is how we get the modern day Dionysus or Bacchus. And we're going to end with some more assorted Dionysus stories.
Can we talk Alexander Great for just 10 seconds?
Yeah, you should.
Okay, so really interesting stuff about Alexander the Great. Listen, if you are a fan of this, if this like itches or scratches at a part in you that you're like, I need to know more, Dan Carlin's Hardcore History podcast does 2 really fantastic series. The first one is King of Kings, which is not about Jesus. It's instead about Alexander the Great. And the other one is Mania for Subjugation. And that's the newer one. They're phenomenal.
So I know the Overly Sarcastic Productions YouTube channel refers to Alexander the Great exclusively as Alexander the Mediocre or something like that.
Okay, so really interesting too. That's okay, so interesting. So Alexander comes from northern
Alexander
Greece.
the All Right, sorry, that's what they said.
I mean, not okay. So Alexander the Great comes from northern Greece,
yes,
which Macedonia or the Macedons, which would have been a backwater during almost all of this history, right?
Right.
So if you have Sparta and Athens down south,
right,
and then you move up a little bit further north, and you have Thebes and things
right,
like that. Yeah. If you go further north than that, they can. If the Athens considered the Thebans barbarians, they would consider the Macedonians people, right? So that's really interesting history. Then you know about Cyrus and the Battle of the 300, whatever. Right. So they try to invade Greece. That doesn't work. But they take over northern Greece.
Right.
And the Persians, the evil Persians, create systems of government in northern Greece. And then that empire collapses at edges first. Watch America. And one of the places it collapses first is in Macedonia, where his dad essentially takes the best parts of Persian bureaucracy and combines it with their own.
Is it Macedonia or Macedonia?
Macedonia, it kind of depends.
Okay,
yeah.
Okay.
Especially when he talks about contemporary versus modern.
Right.
Alexander the Great's dad takes all that great bureaucracy and combines it with the wild child upbringing that is this kind of backwaters place in Greece and creates this huge army. He sleeps with men, but he prefers women. Has a lot of kids, a lot of court intrigue.
Tends to be how the Greeks work.
Bing, bang, boom. Assassinated in front of everybody.
Love that. Incredible.
Alexander the Great takes over.
Okay.
Does have some skill, because he manages to beat out all the other rivals.
Right.
Mainly because his mom is potentially a murderous sociopath.
Oh, fun.
Right. Well, he has 2 incredible parents.
Yeah.
So he had 2 incredible parents. So hit the genetic lottery.
Yes.
Becomes king with his mom literally offing everyone in the background that could potentially challenge him.
Absolutely
and
iconic.
Then takes the keys of this essentially sports car, which is the Macedonian government and military, and steamrolls everybody.
Okay.
And that includes a military style that is absolutely now designed to crush the Persians, because that was the people they have to beat. So all of that is to say, I get Alexander the Mediocre. But the thing that he does, he invades all of these places, dies. And when he dies, because Alexander the Great, much like his dad, also slept with men and kind of women too, and then maybe he had a son, but maybe the son was sickly, and maybe it was 3 when he died, and then the son doesn't make it to adolescence or adulthood. So his generals carve up Alexander's empire and creates all these different smaller empires throughout his region.
Right.
The one that's most important for you to know is the one that sets up in Egypt.
Okay.
Because this Greek family essentially will rule over Egyptians. And down the line, the most famous ruler of that dynasty will be Cleopatra.
Okay, that's what I was gonna.
Yeah.
Okay, that's wild.
Isn't that fun?
That's how it felt researching the gods, where I was like, "Oh no, everyone's related." Okay.
Yeah.
That's fun.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
There's also if we want to bring it full circle, there is elements of Rome early civilization might have actually been an offshoot of some of the Greek colonization you were talking about earlier, which is also why so much of that got imported. And then only wealthy people are paying for the arts at the time, right? They're the one that's commissioning all this stuff. And so even in places that wouldn't otherwise necessarily have a strong connection to Greek cultural traditions, what do Egyptians have to do with what's going on in Thebes? The ruling family very much has a strong connection to it.
Right.
To the point where Egyptians will field their own phalanxes, which is a version of Greek military fighting. So also potentially, I didn't do the research, but wouldn't be surprised if Dionysus's reputation lived on, because the flame moved beyond its original little kettle or whatever.
100%.
Yeah.
Okay. Last section of more Dionysus stories. Another one that is mentioned in Hymn to Dionysus. At some point, he gets kidnapped by sailors who plan to traffic him. and sell him into slavery or whatever. In parentheses, I said he was a real cutie, so, they could have been selling him into other things. Dionysus responds by turning the mast and oars of that boat that he was kidnapped onto into snakes. He fills the boat with ivy and the sound of flutes, and also he personally maybe turns into a lion. And then the sailors jump overboard either from terror or from a Dionysus-induced madness, and they're turned into dolphins.
So, listener, that's a horrifying scene. If you envision it in your own mind, that's a horrifying scene. When I was early days listening to Hymn to Dionysus.
Oh, yeah.
I'm listening
it's
to
pretty
it
early
in the
on
car.
in the book.
Yes,
yeah.
I'm listening to it in the car. Your main narrative POV isn't Dionysus.
No, yeah.
I pick up Jacob and Lydia to go drive somewhere. And I'm like, I'm obsessed with this audiobook. And because, they're my life partners in a lot of ways, they want to know what I'm interested in, especially since I don't live with them. I moved out of mom and dad's house a while ago. And so I'm like, oh no, it's like this great book or whatever. And they listen to just 90 seconds before I nearly steer the car into a lake out of embarrassment. Because essentially the audiobook is he looks small, feeble, his blonde hair and blue eyes. He keeps shaking and he keeps nestling up to soldiers for warmth and protection. And Jacob and Lydia are just kind of looking at me and then looking out the window because they think I'm just listening to the world's grossest start to a smut show. And I have to pause that and I go, they
no, you don't understand.
And I was like, you don't understand? They just killed everyone on this beach except him.
Yeah.
He's a slave.
It's so romantic.
it's here's the thing. I know what the perception is, but it's so graphically violent. You just have to trust me. And they're like, Grant, just listen to what you wrote. And I go, you don't believe me. And then
they're just so accepting and loving.
We go to dinner or the beer garden or whatever. And then I drive them back and I just play music. I don't even play the book because I'm so humiliated. I drop them off. I press play. And then it's he was small and snuggled against sailors. Then all of a sudden everything blew up and it's on fire and there's blood everywhere. And I was like, shit. And they never listened to another second of the book. At no point did they.
No!
It's far and away the most tender moment of the entire book, and it's the only portion
until you get to the very end. Yeah, everything else is violence and emotional confusion.
Right, exactly, and that's why it's so good.
Yes,
but
it's so
Thank you.
Yeah.
Go on.
Okay. Another thing, Dionysus is the one who gave Midas his golden touch. I don't know if you knew that. That backfired. Also, if you didn't know that.
Right.
Yeah, because Midas couldn't eat without turning his food into gold. And he also hugged his daughter, so that didn't go well. Lucky for Midas, Dionysus was willing to teach him how to reverse the curse. And so he told Midas to wash in the Pactolus River, which Midas did. And now the river is known for its golden sands.
Okay.
Another thing, Dionysus is also known as being effeminate or androgynous and is also depicted as cross-dressing. It's possible he was raised as a girl to hide him from Hera, as I had mentioned earlier. And generally, this tradition of cross-dressing is also pretty common in Dionysian festivals and Dionysian rituals. His mythology is regularly associated with human sacrifice or sacrifice of animals, sometimes cannibalism. His symbols and attributes are the thyrsos, which is a pine cone tipped staff, also a crown of ivy, grapevines, and a cantharos, which is a drinking cup. His sacred animals or plants are a panther or leopard. He is often shown in a chariot being pulled by a pair of panthers or leopards or tigers or whatever, or riding them. He's also shown with bulls and serpents. His sacred plants are grapevines, ivy, bindweeds, and pine trees. He is one of a few deities who can bring people back from the dead. One time when he was going down to retrieve, I believe, Semele and maybe his wife at the time, I can't pronounce her name, Ariadne? I can never pronounce that name, and I'm embarrassed by it because it's been so many books that I've read, and I just always stumble through it. So anyway, he's going down to Hades or to Hell to retrieve these people, and Hades tells him that he can do that, but he has to leave behind his most beloved as repayment. And so Dionysus leaves behind a grapevine. And apparently Hades was like, fair enough.
It feels good to be against this.
Yeah. Heracles, at one point, or Hercules, depending on the myth that you read, challenged Dionysus to a drinking competition.
Yeah, I'd watch.
He did not win.
Hercules in it?
No.
Yeah.
Allegedly, Dionysus could be the reason we have the gays. or intersex people or anyone who is not cisgendered. So
no,
the reason,
because the rest of the Greek pantheon feels straight as a board.
so the reason is Prometheus, who is a Titan, he was responsible for forming in clay all of the people, right? And so he would form every person in clay before like sending it up to be like become a person. At one point, Dionysus took him away from his job, got him so drunk, and then Prometheus came back and just started mixing and matching parts and like identities. and now we have Grant.
He used too much clay with me. Yeah. No, I'm kidding. I'm totally kidding. The joke's there. You just gotta make it.
Dionysus, interestingly, is the only god who, when depicted in mythology, the worship of him, again, in those mythological stories, is persecuted.
Okay.
Yeah, so like in real life, we have gods whose worship is persecuted, but it's rare in mythology that we see that. But Dionysus is, I think, the only god where in mythology people were like, fuck you, no.
I was going to ask, how do you define the difference between mythology and real life? Yep. But I was like, that's not a cool thing to say.
We don't need to get into that. In real life.
And they're moving the chips away from
me. In this Chili's. In real life, worship of him was relatively popular. Again, we talked about the history of the wine cult and Dionysus's cult. Again, the reason that he was unpopular in whatever sense is because of the subversion of social norms, and that made rulers nervous.
Okay.
Interestingly, the worship of Dionysus outlasted the Christianization of Rome. Mm-hmm. There is recorded history of Dionysus being worshipped into the Middle Ages, beginning in 450 CE.
Absolutely, babes.
Which is wild. And then here are two depictions of Dionysus from circa 5th century BCE and circa 4th century BCE. And you can see
and now they're on an iPad.
Yeah. And you can see some of the common iconography to represent him.
I assume he's the big one?
Yes. The little one is a satyr.
Ah, gotcha.
Yeah.
I mean, he looks exactly like Jesus.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, because these are older representations of him, right? That's still the Orphic version of him.
Long, like, curly hair, lots of robes.
Yep.
Giant pine cone. Mm-hmm. Next picture, just huge pecs. Just riding a cheetah, but incredible side profile. Bit of a cliff chin, but that's okay. Ooh. Ankle bracelet. I love it.
So anyway, this was my love letter to Grant.
Thank you. Hey, they know it. I know it. You know it. Loved tonight's episode.
It was funny.
It.
Yeah.
Listener, last night I was like, I'm sure it'll be great. Like, I love your work. And Maia was like, you won't love this one. And I was like, yeah.
That's because nothing was organized and it was all a fucking mess last night.
So I was like, oh, okay, I'll give you your space on it then. Like, I'm not going to deny your experience, but I'm always really happy when you tell me a story.
I was like, don't be excited.
So do you want to know do you have a title for the episode?
The titles I didn't have a ton of time to think, were like Myths of Madness.
Okay.
Or something like that.
Love that. That works.
Uh-huh.
First Take as well. Mm-hmm. Grapes and Wrath.
Maybe.
That. We'll see.
Yeah,
we'll see.
We'll workshop.
We'll take a second. We'll take a break and then we'll jump to Patreon.
Yeah.
But before we do that, thanks for joining us. Join us on social media. We're wellilaughed.pod at gmail. Oh, nope, I did that too soon. Join us on social media where we are Well I Laughed. You can find us online at wellilaughed.com. Or Well I Laughed. Okay, great. You can also email us at wellilaughdpod at gmail.com. This is the theme Word of Mouth, and the next theme is Far From Home. You can find additional content on Patreon, and you can add to our additional workload, which we think super cool.
We only have 4 available slots for more cameos at the moment.
So meet us there as well. And until next time, friends.
And please rate and review. Thank you.
I never remember that one.
That's okay. I do. People don't stay this long anyway.
Bye.
Goodbye.